Hello, this is Mole Man in the morning. Good Mole Man to you.
Hello and welcome to Mole Man in the morning.
Good mole man to you, Chuck.
Oh, that's very northern Mole Man today.
It's because I have returned from my holiday in York.
Ah, cool.
And as I say, basically every time I go there, there's a reason we call it, God's own country. Because York is one of the single best places on the planet. I fucking love York.
It is a fantastic city. Love it.
I got my booze from York, but we will talk about that in the booze section.
Ooh, okay. I got gifted a booze that's interesting, so I will talk about that in the booze section.
And Michael, I'm guessing Brewdog again?
No, it's different this week.
Ooh.
Oh my god! Oh, I'm so excited! I'm genuinely excited. That's how old we are. That I'm genuinely excited to hear what other people are drinking.
I'm just a drinks nerd, which is why I'm excited to hear what other people are drinking.
This is true.
This podcast brought to you by York and alcohol.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, no doubt.
Brought to you by crippling depression and alcoholism.
And occasionally underwear.
And MeUndies sponsor us.
Keep trying.
We are Mole Man in the Morning. We're a podcast about how The Simpsons has a lot to say about society. I am your host, John, and I am joined by two co-hosts, as ever, the incomparable Matt.
Hidely ho, podcasterinos.
And the ever-cuddly Michael.
My catchphrase has been stolen. Fuck everyone.
What do I do now?
Wait, did I introduce you in a different order to you? I did, didn't I?
You did,
Matt just stole my catchphrase.
Oh yeah, normally I just I think that's still the same order. I just was a dick today. I've been watching Dragon Ball Z again, so my villain arc is coming through.
Okay, cool. This is why you're poised to slag off one of the world's favourite Simpsons episodes.
Don't spoil it.
I don't know, I'm just guessing.
Just I'm the Vegeta of the show. That's all it is.
Cool. We are here, as ever, to talk about two Simpsons episodes. We are winding our way through Season 4. We've got episodes 8 and 9 today, which are going to be New Kid on the Block and Mr. Plow.
Both episodes that I, remember existing.
Mm-hmm.
They stuck in my mind, but I didn't, remember much about them, so I was very surprised. As soon as I saw the episodes, I was like, oh, it's these ones, because I saw, a thumbnail and was like, oh, I recognize this.
Mm-hmm.
And then watched them and was like, I remembered one very specific part of that episode and nothing else. So yeah, it was an experience. It was like watching fresh episodes of The Simpsons.
Ooh, well, that's good. Do we have any other business to attend to? I always forget our intros. How many segments we've added? Are we going straight to booze? Let's go to booze.
Yeah,
Let's go to booze.
Oh, upfront business. The podcast is now available on YouTube.
Oh damn.
I put the last episode up on YouTube. I took the time to put screenshots from the relevant scenes that we're talking about into a video format. There is a video version of this podcast available. At some point, I may go back and update update might be a strong word. I might go back and upload the old ones in some sort of very limited video format so that there is a complete collection on YouTube. But yes, Mole Man in the Morning is available on YouTube. Google, being Google, decided to kill yet another product. They took down their podcast service a little while ago, and it was very, very clearly in a concerted effort to push everybody to put their podcasts on YouTube, whether or not it was in a video format, because they're dickheads like that.
Yeah, they're slowly just kind of condensing all of their products and services into one thing, either YouTube or Drive, and that's it.
Yep.
Let's not bite the hand that's now apparently feeding.
I'm waiting for them to merge YouTube and Drive as well.
Yeah.
They aren't feeding us. Feeding us would imply they paid us some money for this. I don't think we're going to get a penny out of YouTube for this.
Yeah, we can always believe.
If you were like, man, I wish I knew what these guys were talking about. I wish I could see with my eyes the scene they are talking about. Boy, do we have a version of the podcast for you.
Well, golly, Bob, howdy.
What a great sell that was.
youtube.com/@molemanpod, I guess, is probably the URL if memory serves. Yeah. Some people like video format podcasts as well, so it's for those people. There's new audiences, new places, new experiences. Yep. Enjoy. Booze.
Booze. Shall I go first then, since I hyped mine up a little?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, so whenever I was a kid and I used to go to historical sites like Jorvik or any kind of heritage site, basically, I always wanted to buy things like from the gift shop. From when I was little, I always wanted to buy, like the cool necklaces and rocks and that kind of thing. But this time, because I had plenty of money, I bought things from most of them. And one of the things I bought was spiced rum. But it's English heritage spiced rum. So buying this has helped slightly preserve historical artifacts and sites around England, which I thought was just really cool. I was tempted to buy one of the more fancy brands, because obviously buying it from the gift shop helps regardless, but basically more of the fee of this one goes to the actual heritage site, which is just really cool. So I'm not expecting the world, but hold on, see if we can get this on mic. There we go. I have my tumbler. I'm not going to have a lot. But...
To steal a line from one of these episodes, Matt, you are the greatest hero in British history.
I am. Just, I deserve the key. So, yeah. Cheers, guys. Let's try this.
Kampai.
That's really smooth. That's really nice. I'm not enough of a booze snob to pick out specific flavors or anything, but I can tell you, delish.
Good. Michael, what you got? What you drinking?
I too am drinking rum.
Oh boy.
Hey.
My rum is not English. It is from the Mediterranean, I believe. It was from Tenerife. I think I've drunk it before on the podcast. Familia, I think it's called.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It tastes the same as it does, a little bit spicy. It's all happy.
Same as last time. Yeah, fair enough. I'd be worried if it tasted different, really.
Save the segment.
I'm drinking Duff beer.
Wait, genuinely?
Yeah, genuinely.
Genuinely Duff beer.
Yeah.
I imagine it must taste like Bud Light or Bud, because that is what it's cribbing on.
It is just lager. Yes, a colleague of mine, shout out to Jason, thank you for the Duff beer, rocked up one day at work and was like, I know you do a Simpsons podcast. Here, I got you a Duff beer. Oh, okay, thank you.
That's so cool.
Apparently, it is available in either Aldi or Lidl, I forget which, but one of them is in fact selling Duff beer.
I will keep my eyes out for it.
Yeah, I've got a Lidl in town. I can check. I mean, not right now. Obviously, that'd be weird, but...
I mean, can confirm is definitely just a lager.
Can confirm is beer.
I mean, I don't know what anybody expected.
No, absolutely not. I think if I went
fun.
to... There's that Simpsons land we talked about a while ago, the Simpsons part of, what is it, Warner Bros? One of the theme parks in Florida or California has a Simpsons area. We've talked about this before.
Must be Disney, surely.
I suppose, yeah, at this point. But anyway, they have a place where you can buy Duff beer, but it's non-alcoholic, we found out, because obviously they want, they expect the kids to want it. So I just imagine Duff beer being really sugary.
Oh, I mean, that stuff, yeah. This is, I don't know, I guess somebody somewhere decided to license a brewery to do just to stick a Duff label on some lager they made.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine Duff beer tastes different every time you drink it, because it is just whatever brewery they got to put a label on whatever they made.
I mean, I also kind of would again, can't remember which supermarket it was, but for sake of argument, let's say it was Lidl, I would like to see Aldi produce Fud beer as well.
Yeah. Make the competition real. All right, Simpsons?
Okay, New Kid on the Block. It's aired November 12th, 1992. Anything happening on this day?
Well, in British television history, the famous sitcom Absolutely Fabulous aired for the first time on the BBC.
That's a weird coincidence, because there's the new Absolutely Fabulous commentary series, isn't there? I kept seeing it get advertised on You and Dave in the hotel.
Commentary series?
Yeah, so it's the actresses from Absolutely Fabulous watching it again and talking about it.
Oh, okay.
So just doing what we're doing, basically.
Yeah, basically.
With their own product.
Dave really scraping for content and just airing the DVD commentary section now.
Well, I think it's a bit more elaborate than that, but yes. I mean, it is Dave.
Yeah, fair enough.
For our American viewers, Dave is a channel that is notorious for repeats and low-effort content.
Mm-hmm.
other than QI, which is also kind of low effort still.
Then goes the sponsorship from Dave.
Yeah. Oh well.
Would you like to know the number ones?
Oh, tell me.
Well, you'll be shocked to hear in the UK we're still on the boys to men train. End of the road, but the US has been broken from its hypnotic spell. And the US number one is How Do You Talk to an Angel by The Heights.
I thought that was a dad joke then. And then
Yeah,
I stopped and tried to figure it out. How do you talk to an angel? By the heights. And I was like, wait, no, I don't get it. Actually, that does kind of work, because you get high to, you have to get high up to talk to an angel because they're in heaven, I guess. But that's not, it wasn't a dad joke. Shut up, Matthew.
Yeah, it didn't quite work as a punchline, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, I hate myself too.
Oh dear.
You did this, Michael.
Yeah, good. Well, that's what you get for stealing my catchphrase at the start.
I deserve this.
Right, shall we dive in?
Let's head on in.
Right, so the blackboard gag. I will not bring sheep to class.
Did you know, I thought I blinked. Like, I looked away from the intro for a second, and I saw sheep to class, and I was like, I could rewind, because this could be a banger. Wasn't a banger.
No.
Why would you expect the blackboard gag to be a banger?
I don't know. I'm just eternally hopeful that one day they'll actually genuinely make me laugh. I know they've gotten like a good chuckle from me a couple times now, but they've never like. I mean,
Yeah, they never work.
Surely, someone must be. I guarantee that there are people out there that are proud that they came up with the chalkboard gag, and they are eternally infuriated by the fact that no one gives a shit.
I don't think that's true. I feel like the chalkboard gags are like the lowest ranking job in the writer's room. The newbie that nobody likes, like, give him the chalkboard gags. Look, there's 22 episodes in the season. Just come up with 22 things for Bart to write on the blackboard, please. There we go. That'll keep you busy.
So the intern job.
Yeah, basically, yeah, like that.
Maybe. Yeah.
I wonder if the intern came up with the couch gag, which is the couch simply falling through the floor.
Yep, it happened.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah, it's standard. So the episode begins with Homer watching a television program called Hunks.
Yep.
This was so weird.
Basically, one of the guys is asked the question who he thinks made the statement about wanting to have sex. The guy's response is basically he doesn't know because he's already had sex with them all, which the girls confirm, and he guesses anyway. That's about as much as I took away from that scene.
Well, he guesses based on the knowledge that she likes to make bacon on the beach, and
yes,
look,
this does prompt Homer to also confirm he likes making bacon on the beach, and we just get Homer's flashback fantasy of him making bacon on the beach.
Yeah, so I imagine that the gag is that, Homer's thinking about actually making bacon on the beach. That's fine. I get the gag. Yeah. It was amusing, but would it not have been funnier if they'd used an actual fucking phrase? Because
you've never heard of the sex phrase, making bacon on the beach?
Right. I should have done this already, but we're all, again, fastest Google in the show, making bacon on the beach. No, it's a Simpsons phrase. Oh, well. Although there is a song by the Myth of the Turtle called "Making Bacon on the Beach" on Spotify right now.
It apparently first recorded in 1973. It was used to refer to sexual intercourse, according to Green's Dictionary of Slang.
Is that
just making bacon, not the beach?
Yeah.
I think when he said making bacon was the slang phrase he used, he literally was talking about making bacon on the beach.
Okay.
And then Homer was like, right. Oh, I love making bacon on the beach.
It is an actual phrase, so I'm just an asshole.
It's not one I'd come across before, to be fair.
No, I've never
It's
heard
not
it.
my go-to euphemism for sex, no.
No.
No, mine is fucking.
That's good.
It's not really a euphemism as much, though.
Speaking of fucking, Mrs. Winfield knocks on the door and reveals that
Mrs. Winfield.
She and her husband are moving, and Homer's response to this is just saying moving to Florida to see out the golden years.
Yeah, count down the clock.
Run out the clock.
Run out the clock in Florida. Homer has zero tact. That was excellent.
Miss Winfield asks Homer to help her do a couple of tiny things to help sell the house, which include putting on pants while he's at the window, which he refuses to do.
No, this is fair. No, you shouldn't have to wear pants in your own home.
She also asks him to take in the Jacqueline hunters from Halloween.
Jack-o'-lanterns, is that the word you're looking for?
Jacqueline lanterns. The Jacqueline Anton.
Sorry, I'm combining words. Sorry. But,
Honestly, Jacqueline Anton sounds like an actress from the 80s.
Probably was.
I'd watch a film with Jacqueline Anton in it. I imagine she gets her tits out.
Guest starred in an episode of Charlie's Angels, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, Mom was asked to bring the pumpkins in. He refuses to do it. And she finally ends with the request to cover up his garbage because it's attracting wildlife. And we cut to the moose that's eating out the trash.
What is this music?
I asked the same question. That was my note. I was like, what is the moose music? Mercifully, Wikipedia does have the answer to that. It is the theme tune to a show set in Canada called Northern Exposure. Which
is fitting that the moose takes no heed of Homer's attempts to shoo it away and instead charges to attack him.
Yeah, what a weird... They really just didn't know how to end this scene. Or they were stoned or something. They were just like, what if a moose comes in?
It hits in exactly the same way as the goats in the kitchen last time.
Yeah.
It was just like, what the fuck are you doing? What is this?
Why are there goats? Why is there moose? Maybe they just had like an animal thing. They were just like, let's just do animals this season. Why not?
Maybe.
We then cut to the next scene and we see that the Homer is now mowing the lawn. That's quite the time jump, and he notices that the Winfield are throwing some stuff away, which include coat hangers and expired medications and old newspapers. Homer is delighted by this and immediately tries to stealthily steal it. But he's dropping it all over the place, and he has to have a stern word with himself.
Yeah, he's like, you must now quietly and stealthily bring this into your house. And he drops it. He's like, Homer, you're not listening to me. I love when Homer has a conversation with himself. Those are the best. Have we gotten to the peanut thing yet? The peanut under the couch? I don't think we have yet.
No, I don't think we're on that one.
I wanted a peanut. $5 is better than peanuts. Explain.
That one's
money can be exchanged for goods and services.
I think that one's a way off.
That's a belter.
I forget which episode that's from. I remember the bit, but I do not know which episode it's in.
Homer's not eating peanuts, but he is eating expired medications. As Marge scolds him for saying that's not for him, Homer's response to this is he might need some more estrogen.
I mean, same Homer, honestly.
According to some people, we're all getting too much estrogen.
Thanks, Trump.
Fucking idiots. Phytoestrogen is not the same as estrogen, you fucking morons.
But you know what, I'll take your mind off it. A good old-fashioned TV commercial, and
hey.
Do you vomit at the sight of a burger, and can you not stand the thought of another taco? Well,
yes.
Come have some seafood at the all-you-can-eat Flying Dutchman. You'll get served some iced tea in a really awkward exchange.
I would fucking love to go to the Flying Dutchman. I would love there to be a like low-tier seafood restaurant near me. I would love that. That'd be great.
I know.
The nearest one for me is like Morley.
This is the introduction of the old sea captain, Captain McAllister. We do get his name as later. This is the first time we see him. He's obviously an incredible character. Of course, I love him so much. And yeah, I love the concept of the Flying Dutchman as well. It's just good name, good branding. Love it.
Great name. It's Hank Azaria, I'm guessing.
I have not checked.
It's basically Moe's
guess.
voice, so I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say it's Hank Azaria.
We then see that Homer tells Marge that they are going to the restaurant. The power of effective advertising, but Marge is allergic to seafood, unfortunately. And as she describes the last time she ate it, her throat closed up and she went into convulsions.
I don't think that's just an allergy. That's something really fucking serious. Like, that's beyond anaphylactic shock, isn't it? You don't have convulsions during anaphylactic shock, do you?
I think you can do, depending on how bad it is. I think there's like different levels of severity.
Right, fair enough. And because like I'm allergic to cat hair, and that's the only allergy I have to deal with. And luckily, they don't usually have them in restaurants. But as someone who was born at the ripe old age of 55, every time I go to a restaurant and they say, "Any allergies?" I go, "Cats." And then they all look awkward. Some people go, "Oh, don't worry, we don't serve those here." And then others just kind of walk away.
And I know like where you may be insulting the cuisine.
Yeah, a little bit.
Particularly if you're in like a Thai or Chinese place.
Mm.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't do it there. Mostly because if it's like an authentic one, and I don't want to be misunderstood.
Also, like, Marge's allergy, like, is it seafood? Is that an allergy? Like, one of the allergies, one of the major allergies that generally you have to, like, control for and note on stuff is generally, like, shellfish, but not
Shellfish,
seafood
yeah.
generally. So,
Yeah,
like,
because she later on, in the episode is like, nothing on the menu has
fish in it.
doesn't have fish. Yeah, I don't think you could just be allergic to like seafood in general, because I think that would mean you're allergic to like
Everything.
billions of different species.
Yeah, I mean, I would understand someone with a shellfish allergy being reticent to go to a seafood place, but also, like, I feel like she would probably be fine with the fish.
Also, I'm fairly certain she's had lobster in the show. Because
Entirely possible.
In season 1, they go to, like, one of their... They
To be
mention
fair,
one of their restaurants
you've
they go
never
to is like a
seen
lobster place.
We never see Marge eat the lobster, so...
This is true. You've got me there. She could just have the bread.
Speaking of bread,
There you go.
we go to the next scene, and the Winfield's agent is showing a man wearing Homer Simpson's clothes and his wife through the entirety of the house. And
Oh, damn, he is.
Wait, what?
the guy in this scene is wearing Homer's clothes.
It's literally the
Amazing.
same outfit, yeah.
They're about to pay whatever the Winfields want because they don't know how haggling works, but a burp distracts them, and we see that Homer is in his kiddie paddling pool, fishing a hot dog out from between his legs.
Oh,
And this is enough to effectively cancel the sale, while the estate agent looks very annoyed.
yeah, that's fucking just wet bread. Like, let's not even get into the rest of that whole situation. Wet bread. Like, have you ever, like, when you were a kid, you got, like, a bit of your sandwich wet and you were just like, well, I'm hungry. So you just ate the sandwich anyway. And then you get to the bit where it's wet and you're just like,
I've used water eating bread in the past just to get it down quicker, but...
Last time we were in an eating contest.
do you do eating contests?
No, I did not do eating contest. I had to eat really quickly one day. I can't remember what the circumstances of it were, but to facilitate the eating, I just drank liquid with it, so it was eating a lot of soggy bread because it goes down your gullet quicker.
I'd just be late. I'd just be late. I'd just be like, well, I'm eating. So,
Well,
Why were you late? I was eating a sandwich.
Well, I'm more considerate than people, okay?
you are more I'm not saying, like, I'm right. I'm saying I'm a dickhead. I would just be like, well, I'll just be late. I'm eating.
Speaking of being a dickhead, we then but guides Lisa into the old Winfield house now that it's been sold. And down in the basement, Bart begins to tell a horror story of the Winfield's abandoned son and how he lost his eyes and he has a sock for a friend. This essentially leads to Bart turning up his eyebrows and his eyelids and turning around to scare Lisa into thinking he is the son.
Okay, so 2 things. Don't put that sock on your hand.
Probably not a good idea.
Yeah, second, did anyone else know... Well, I say anyone else. Did anyone know someone that could do that? The whole turn your eyelids inside out?
I've only ever seen it in cartoons. I've never seen it in a...
I think this is the only time I've ever seen it.
Oh, I've seen it. No one at my... I think one person at my primary school might have been able to do it. I was obsessed with the idea of being able to do it. I wish I could.
I think my pathological fear would be if I did it, if I couldn't undo it.
You couldn't undo it.
Oh no, it just gets stuck. Oh no.
Bart's amused with himself, but then we hear a figure behind him calling out for a friend, and this terrifies Bart into fainting. He wakes up, and we see that a teenage girl is now hanging over him and introduces herself as Laura. Bart has a moment where he thinks to himself that she's very beautiful and he shouldn't embarrass himself. So
I felt like my bottom.
is the phrase that comes out as he says "dough" to himself.
Yep.
We then cut back to Marge introducing herself to Laura, who reveals that she's very polite because she's had an incredibly strict upbringing.
Yeah, there was such a weird, like, weird thing to write. Like, I get what they mean, but it's almost too self-aware. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like, even in cartoon land, that's a weird thing to say.
We then meet Laura's mother, Ruth, as Marge is giving her the Simpsons Welcome-mobile basket, which includes a free coupon to go to Moe's. Bear that in mind later, because it's a hell of a plot point.
Yes.
And Ruth mentions that she was thinking about not moving to Springfield because she'd seen a newspaper article which said it was America's worst town.
It was Time magazine, a Time cover story, America's worst city.
Yeah, so we learned that, once again, America likes naming their states and cities the same thing.
Yep. Marge's response to this is that the house was on the cover.
Yeah, she was so proud of it as well. I thought that was really cute. She was just so excited about it. She's just like, you can see our house from there. And Laura's face immediately is like, ew. It's so good.
Marge then pulls out a porno, which is designated for the man of the house, which turns out to be Ruth.
What a weird. Imagine turning up to your new home and you get a welcome back and you're like, oh wow, that's so sweet and generous. Oh, and porn.
Das Butz.
Das Butt, yes.
Das Butt.
Ruth explains that they are divorced because Mr. Powers was more obsessed with his career. And after Marge asking Marge if she sympathised, we then see Homer is having an argument with the dog, which is sat in his hammock.
My hammock. Oh man, honestly, like for one, I get that Homer's a big guy, but hammocks are huge. I have napped in my hammock because I have a hammock. Of course I do. I have napped in my hammock with my dog after like reading a book, and just best shit. Nice warm sunny day, and you just cozy. Oh man, napping in we should all own hammocks. Hammocks should be mandatory. I feel like if we all owned hammocks, if there was government regimented hammock ownership, like we all got a free hammock, there would be no wars.
Well, get down to the hammock district.
That was so long away.
Nailed it.
I know.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Do you want cream?
I tell you what, you might want is a Hertz donut. And it hurts, don't it? Hey. Bart and Laura are on the front curb exchanging several schoolyard bully classics, which include the Wet Willy. And this brings Kearney and I forget what the other one is called. Dolph to go. And Kearney invites Laura to stick her finger in his ear. But Laura makes a gay joke back, which completely immobilizes the bullies and they flee in terror.
They're playing mind games. That was so good. I know, again, like, classic, 90s gay joke humor is a bit uncouth these days, but the actual, like, the reaction to it was great. The whole, like, playing mind games thing. I feel like it was a more self-aware lol gay joke than most at the time.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it was intended as in any way homophobic kind of thing.
No.
It's kind of more flipping things around on the bullies, and yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like, another example of like bad lol gay jokes is any episode of Friends, where Ross, like the character Ross, is just so becomes so obsessed with appearing straight and gets so upset at the notion of it and those kind of things, or any of the male characters really. It becomes the central part of the episode that someone possibly insinuated they might be gay. Whereas this, it flips it on the head of like, oh, mind games. It's just, simple and clever. You can. It's the example of the fact that you can tell those kind of jokes as long as you tell them well. But if the purpose is to just say lol gay, that's not a joke. That's just homophobia.
Yeah.
Speaking of telling, Laura can tell the future through Bart's palm, and she reveals he's going to be rich, which she can see his mansion, his tennis court, and his swimming pool, at which point she just spits in his hand.
I did this to someone and got detention.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Bart declares that he's never going to wash his hand again, and we cut to the next scene, and Bart's hand is really shocked at this point.
Why is the spit solidified, man?
Because he hasn't washed his hand in...
Yeah, I know, but it would
it's
just
still a liquid.
It would just fall off, man. It would evaporate. It wouldn't become this like. It looked like a piece of blue tack.
Yeah.
Bart declares that the hand is now got a mind of its own, and he starts trying to torment Lisa with it, and Homer yells at the little monsters to shut up. At the same time, he's trying to book a babysitter and describing the kids as angels.
I like how such a large portion of the B plot is just Homer trying to get to the restaurant. It's like a solid 10 minutes in before he actually gets there. And you've got to admire Homer's tenacity for food.
We then see that the woman is not the actual babysitter, but the sister of the babysitter who has suffered some form of nervous breakdown. She's
this was dark as fuck.
She's asking Bart to put it down.
Yeah, this was intense.
Homer's very upset about this because he wore his extra loose pants for nothing, and the despair his pants fall down. Bart suggests the idea that Laura could babysit them, and Lisa makes the classic sibling kissy face. Bart tries to attack her with his demented hand, but he unfortunately gets stuck to the dog.
This was probably the biggest laugh of the episode for me, was Bart getting dragged off by the dog.
In a similar way to the Maggie driving the car thing, like you pointed out, there was some animation background stuff there. Like, I noticed the dog get up on the sofa. I'm like, oh, that's an animation detail they added. The dog's just like moving around in the background. Like, they just really get good attention to detail. I was like, nope, setting up for the dog gag.
Yep.
The dog basically wanders around with Bart stuck to it, and Bart finally declares that maybe he should wash his hand. Next scene, we see that Bart is indeed washing his hand because he's in the bath.
My brother shaved our German Shepherd once when me, my mum, and my dad were on holiday when I was a kid. My brother was a teenager, so he was like, I'm not going on holiday with my parents anymore. That's stupid. And I was thinking, free holiday. And I was 10, so there was that.
Before Bart takes a bath, by the way, Homer has to talk to Ruth about...
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
The wrong order, yeah. Homer goes round to Ruth, and Ruth confirms that Laura can babysit, and Homer very untactfully mentions that something he's supposed to be avoiding, and Ruth reveals that it's a divorce, and Homer is relieved that at least one of them remembered. Ruth's response to this is fairly upbeat and asks Homer to set her up with a friend because she's got certain needs. And
this was by far one of the most awkward exchanges in Simpsons ever. This was, I don't get what the joke was. I don't get what the vibe they were going for was. It was so weird.
Homer says he does understand her needs, but then he has to clarify that they're talking about sex. And
well, at first he's like, we're not talking about food. She says correct. And then he's like, I get what you're saying. We're talking about sex, right? It's like, yes.
As Ruth sounds more and more annoyed as we're going on.
Yep.
And then it ends with Homer going his brow.
I can't do that noise. My dad can do it so fucking well, but I can't. There you go. That's the best I got.
I think we've covered the bath, right?
That never goes anywhere. Like, would be interesting as a storyline at some point to explore Homer setting up somebody. I don't know, Lenny with Ruth.
To be fair, he already did that in season 2 with Patty and Selma.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah,
we'll never know the result of that. Bart has his bath, and his skin is now his yellowest.
Oh god, it's such a.
And we see Bart come down, and he's now dressed as Hugh Hefner, smoking from his imaginary pipe with the bubble bath.
Got bubble pipe, yeah.
Oh, Laura, what a pleasant surprise. Sorry, okay, so I don't have any specific examples, but as we're all blocky blokes, you know, we're all proper lads, clearly. You know, the laddest of the
halfway,
lads.
maybe.
Yeah, we're all the laddest of the lads. We all work in construction sites and whistle at women. Let's since we are rocketing through this episode, let's dive back to our past a little. Did anyone do this, like that kind of vibe? Because I know I certainly did. Not necessarily with like babysitters, but you know.
Well, dressed as Hugh Hefner to hit on women.
No, but like try to impress an older girl in that like, oh, maybe I want her to like me kind of way. You know, as a kid, in that weird childish attempt that, you know, you're first discovering those feelings and stuff like that.
No.
No.
God, now I feel pathetic. Let's keep talking about Simpsons. Jesus.
Clearly you're not alone, because Conan O'Brien managed to write a joke about it in 1992, so it must be a shared experience, just not one I share.
Mm.
This was written by Conan O'Brien, by the way, just as a side note.
There you go.
Weird thing, did not realize until very recently from doing this podcast that Conan O'Brien was a Simpsons writer.
Yep.
Yeah. We then see that the family going to order takeout, and we cut to I don't even know what cuisine this was meant to be.
Well, Kabul is Afghanistan, so yeah, I guess cuisine from Afghanistan.
We've got an empty restaurant with two blokes that are declaring that one of them wants them to fail, and the other one tells them to shut up. The phone rings, and they fight over it.
Yes, again, just a weird bit.
We then see that Laura and the kids are now enjoying the good old Afghani food, and
yeah, it looks great.
It looks great. Yeah, it looks banging.
It did look nice.
I bet it. I can understand why, like, you know, Middle America probably wouldn't be the go-to place to set up an Afghan restaurant, but like, it does look banging.
I bet it would fucking ruin your toilet.
Oh. Meanwhile, speaking of ruining toilets, Homer is at the Frying Dutchman, and Marge is struggling to find.
Can we all agree that sign as well, that neon sign, is fucking lit, literally and figuratively?
Marge can't order anything from the menu, so ends up just having Tic Tacs from her purse.
Excellent choice.
Even the bread's got fish.
Those are the two things I want to focus on: the fact that the bread has fish in it, And also, yeah, the waiter's sass when she says, "I believe I've got some Tic Tacs," and he just goes, "Excellent choice, so good."
Homer obviously wants the all-you-can-eat, and as the waiter
All you can eat. All you can eat.
as the waiter's about to give him his plate, Homer's already at the at the table taking the steam tray out.
Please don't take the steam tray, sir.
We then cut back to the Simpson house, and Laura's teaching the kids to dance, including Maggie, who's now doing a waltz with the cat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she didn't just teach Maggie to waltz, she taught the cat to waltz.
Yeah, she doesn't even mention that, though. She's like, if I can teach Maggie to waltz.
Yeah,
It's like, why do you mention the fact that you taught a cat to waltz, bruh?
Laura begins to direct Bart, to tell him to put his hand on her hip, and Bart makes a very high-pitched noise at this.
Yeah, his voice cracks, doesn't it?
And we get a nice little fantasy section of Laura and Bart in tuxedo and dress doing a very elegant waltz throughout a very fine place.
You're right, Michael.
Yeah, it was like a castle, I don't know.
Some sort of
I think
fantasy
it
land,
would-
yeah.
If I was to guess, it was an obscure reference to an old black and white film where two characters danced.
Oh yeah, that was popular back in the day to do that.
I can tell you because the Simpsons archive can tell me,
Hey.
which
Ooh.
Tom Persier, to give him his credit, has identified it as being a reference to an Astaire Rogers movie, Cheek to Cheek.
I did think of Fred Astaire. It basically ends with Bart getting a wedgie and
Yeah.
going back to the present and looking very longingly at Laura. He's having a good time, is Bart. Also having a good time is Homer, who is still chomping away while all the lights are off and everybody else has left the restaurant.
Yep.
One of the waiters informs Captain McAllister that Homer has eaten all the shrimp and two
That man
plastic
ate all the
lobsters.
shrimp.
And two plastic lobsters.
Hey, you know, when you're excited about shrimp, you gotta eat some plastic to calm yourself down.
Captain McAllister declares Homer is not a man, but he's a remorseless eating machine.
Which is a reference to Moby Dick.
He then goes over to Homer and says that it's 6 bells and it's time for closing. Homer says he can't stop because he's eating, and Captain McAllister has Homer ejected from the restaurant. Homer runs back in and continues to eat.
It's just desperately eating
Oh, he
shrimp.
screams, "Hey!" He runs back in, it's just
We
amazing.
can all relate to desperately eating shrimp, I think. I think we can all relate to that.
Homer's ejected again, and as he's pulled away, he sadly mentions that the sign said "Oh, you can eat."
Oh, you can eat.
There's an awkward moment where Marge just stands there looking very depressed.
Marge spends a lot of her time this episode looking mortified.
Marge has a miserable time of everything in this episode. Marge does not have, like, any
not a
particularly
good day
positive
for
moments
Marge.
today.
Not a good day for Marge at all.
We cut back to the Simpsons' bedroom, and Homer declares that he's going to fight this thing. As Marge begs him not to, Homer says he can't because he's like the Spanish guy who fought the windmill. And this is, of course, Don Quixote. And Homer is refusing to accept this, and as Marge is more than adamantly telling him that it is Don Quixote. Homer walks away to...
Fine, I'll look it up.
Homer looks it up and comes back and decides that it doesn't matter. As Marge very smugly just murmurs her satisfaction.
Oh, those are some of the best Simpsons bits. Just the really quick, just never mind kind of gags.
Can I also take a moment to note here, though, that, like, this is surprisingly smart as a bit, really well written, because for all this exchange and, like, ha ha ha, Homer has to look it up, and yeah, he's wrong and all that, whatever. Like, he is like Don Quixote here. He is fighting a silly fight against a imagined enemy that's, like, just completely, like, it's just a ridiculous fight. Like, he is tilting at windmills when he's fighting the restaurant in court about whether it's all you can eat or not. This is kind of is literally a Don Quixote kind of thing. Like, it's really smart.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also want to point out that there was an actual court case like this where two British blokes at a Chinese all-you-can-eat were kicked out because they just kept eating. They took them to court and won.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The really funny thing is, as well, is like the press, like pictures, you know, of, like newspapers and stuff, had them looking very sad, but then a picture of them looking really full, like because they were like, well, they're two fat blokes, let's have them looking like they've eaten a lot. But they posed for it. That's the sort of funny thing. Is like, all right, it kind of gave that vibe of like, all right, and now a silly one. That's a very old reference to fucking when people actually took real group photos instead of just incessant fucking selfies.
Meanwhile, we see that Or a bot at the Quickie Mart playing a game which accurately describes what the American justice system looks like.
This was dumb.
At death row, and the conservative judge means that the insanity plea is not working. So when they go to a change of venue, they end up in Texas.
Is this just me being miserable? But I just like when they were saying hit the insanity plea button or whatever, and she was just like saying I'm trying. I just kind of thought this is. I think it might just be me as like a gamer, but I just found it stupid. Like anyone with even the slightest knowledge of video games knows that this is just dumb. Like I'm not saying.
I think that's the point of the joke.
Yeah, I know. I get that it's just meant to be weird and silly, but I just kind of thought, no, this is just weird. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's a few sort of video game parodies generally, I suppose, scattered occasionally throughout The Simpsons, and it always kind of reads like somebody who's got a vague idea of what video games are, but it's the early 90s and they're not really that mainstream yet, so like it's kind of an outsider's perspective on what they think video games might be like if they were also trying to make a joke out of it.
Yeah, it was just weird. Just hit the insanity plea button. Like, fucking what? Maybe I know too much about games to find the joke funny. Maybe someone who doesn't would find it really funny.
After Laura leaves, Apu drifts his way over and reveals that he thinks that Bart has a crush on his girl. Bart asks how he knows, and Apu just pretty much confirms he's been watching him on the camera, which serves its other purpose than waiting to see who's about to shoot him.
Can we all agree that this weird obsession with adults caring way too much about their children's love lives is really fucking weird?
A little bit.
Like, we all do this. Well, I say we all. Like, anyone that, like, interacts with kids that are that age. Like, I only interact with my niece and nephew, and they're, like, fucking children, so they don't do this yet. But whenever a kid of, like, 10 or whatever, talks to a girl, they're like, oh, do you like her? It's like, why is that what your mind goes to? Like, I'm not even going to get on a little soapbox here and talk about the whole weird, like, heteronormative bollocks that all is. It's just weird and creepy. Why do you care what a 10-year-old's childhood crush is unless they come and ask you questions? It's just weird, guys. Guys, can we all stop fucking doing it?
No.
No. All right. Michael has spoken.
You will be weirded out by it.
I will.
Because it's the law. And I can't believe it's a law firm is where Homer has paid his next visit to speak to our good friend Lionel Hutz.
Yeah. I immediately wrote when I saw Lionel Hutz, so the next episode is going to have Troy McClure, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're usually together. Like, I'm surprised they're not in both, but like one of my notes, in fact, my first note for the next episode is Phil Hartman is really making bank this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing well. Lionel Hutz declares that this is the most blatant case of fraudulent advertising since his lawsuit against the film The Never-Ending Story, which is a great joke.
I think that was there was genuine like attempts at that. I don't know if that was a gag though, but it would not surprise me that someone tried that.
Homer asks if he has a case, and Lionel Hutz's response is to declare that Homer is the greatest hero in American history.
Yep.
which Homer is very delighted about. We then see that Bart is at the old folks' home to pay a visit to Grandpa, and he doesn't get his grandpa at first. He gets the character that I think is called Old Jewish Man.
I think that is correct, yes.
Here I am.
Bart doesn't want anything to do with him, but Old Jewish Man tries to win him over with his dance.
Can your grandpa do this? And he starts slapping his knees.
Old Jewish Man is escorted away, and Grandpa comes out happy that Bart remembered his birthday. Bart has a moment where he wonders what Grandpa's on about before he sees the twinkle in his eye. And he gives Grandpa the
bus schedule.
The bus schedule, which Grandpa's delighted about.
Why does Bart have a bus schedule? But whatever.
He had to get there. He was to call the bus.
Read the fucking signs.
Bart asks her advice about how to attract an older woman, and Grandpa starts relaying his story of the 120-year-old woman that he lost to the Guinness Books of World Records.
She got in with that Guinness Book of World Records crowd. I wore a 5-pound beard of bees for that woman.
It was 15 pounds.
15 pounds. My humblest apologies.
Good. You give them the Grandpa his due. He wore 10 extra pounds.
Obscure cuts that, like, I don't know who this joke really particularly is for, but it's like, he says, here's a picture of her delivering UB Blake. UB Blake being born in 1887, so for her to be delivering him as a baby she must have been even older still.
Yeah, she was insanely old.
Yubi Blake being a popular jazz musician, I guess, but never heard of him, I'm afraid.
I guess it's a nice change from the Mr. Burns' old jokes.
Yeah.
We then see Bart try to ask Homer for advice, and Homer tries to make himself look busy by looking at the paper.
Yeah,
But,
he says like, "Ooh, what the so-and-so's in town." I don't know why that genuinely got me.
Mozart was in town, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
the
Mostly
Mozart.
Mozart.
Yeah, I was just like...
Mostly.
Alright. Mostly.
Marge encourages Homer to have the talk with Bart, and Homer says Bart should find out about sex the way he did. And Marge asks him if he thinks that's such a great idea, and we cut back to Kid Homer at the zoo, and he thinks the two monkeys are killing each other, but the zookeeper puts him right.
They're having sex.
So Homer begins his talk, and he compares a woman to a refrigerator because they're 6 feet tall and 300 pounds.
Jesus, Homer.
Homer quickly abandons the straight and starts mentioning that women are now actually like beer.
I
And,
love how Homer always like doubles down on his analogies, because he does this a lot, but he's just like, no, I'm just gonna stick with it, even if it's wrong. I'm just gonna keep going. But yeah, sometimes he bails on it. It's like, but beer.
because it smells good and you'd step over your own mother to get one.
Yep.
Homer chugs his beer and then declares that once you've had one, you've got to have another. This pretty much leads to Homer going down a ranting thing as he gets steadily drunker. And eventually he just passes out at the table while Bart looks
You
thoroughly
make me wanna retch.
etch. We then see Bart in bed, unhappy, wondering how he can get Laura to notice him. At that moment, Laura knocks on the window and tells Bart to meet him in the treehouse alone. Gulp. And we see that Bart is now pacing in the treehouse as Laura comes up in a very pretty dress, and she mentions to Bart that she's so happy she had to tell someone, and Bart says he pleases to aim.
Yeah. Please to aim.
Laura then takes this moment to declare that she has a boyfriend, and Bart gets a moment of horrific fantasy where Laura rips out his heart and kicks it across the wall, declaring he won't need it anymore.
This was the bit that I remembered so clearly, and I genuinely, just because of how brutal it is, assumed it was in a treehouse of horrors.
Right.
This is intense, man.
The aesthetics of the scene are pretty Treehouse of Horror. It's literally in
Yeah.
the treehouse at night.
Yeah.
Laura declares that her boyfriend is Jimbo, and Bart realizes that this is indeed Jimbo Jones, as he gets a flashback to when Jimbo was sticking his head down the toilet, and Principal Skinner was simply asking Jimbo if there was a problem, and just patiently waits for...
Very
Yeah,
well.
use the
I'll
s-
continue to wait.
Are there staff toilets?
Apparently not.
And also, Bart screamed. Did Seymour not hear that? Principal Skinner is fucking terrible, man.
Then see that Laura declares that Jimbo's a bad boy and uses the story of the Jimbo poking the dead body with a stick behind the mayor's house.
Yeah.
Jimbo picks Laura up on his scooter and asks who the nerd is, and Laura says that Bart is just a kid.
Just
This
a kid.
ring-
Just a kid.
This rings
Just
a
a
bell with
kid.
Bart, who declares he will prove them wrong, as Marge at that exact moment declares that his jammies are now set up for him.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll
Didn't
prove them
he
was a
sneak
kid.
out after bedtime to do this, though?
Yeah.
He was
yes.
in bed when she knocked on the window.
Wait, yeah.
No, Bart took off his jammies, got dressed, and Marge has gone into his room to fold up his jammies again.
Yes,
She
literally
just
does.
accepts it.
It's, slightly confusing. We then see that the family are having dinner, and Bart is thoroughly depressed as he asks Homer for advice on...
Also notice that even Marge is eating like an animal in this scene. Normally,
And
Marge
they're
is the
all
only
eating
one that-
piles of grey slop.
Oh god, fucking American cartoon food, man.
Bart asks Homer what to do if the girl that he likes is about to marry some clod. Homer's response is, he married her.
Yeah. This, do you know, I really couldn't not see this as all kind of pathetic and incelly from this point on.
Hmm.
It really did just start to feel like, oh, the girls only go for the bad guys. Why don't they go for a nice guy like me? And I just, again, that's all like imposing modern thoughts on the
Speaking of-
episode, but
Yeah, but also like Bart's not a nice guy either.
No, he's
like
not.
he's
No.
like he can't be portrayed as the nice guy in this particular
but
scenario.
that's
'cause
the
he's just
point.
not
Is like the
that's a
nice guy,
character.
the people that actually think that way. Like, yeah, in romance films, that is true. But in the real world, where people actually use that phrase, they're never the nice guys.
Oh, I take your point. Yes, fair enough. Yeah.
Sorry, continue, Michael.
Lisa wishes Homer success in his trumped-up lawsuit, and
Yeah.
as they leave to have a lawsuit at night. Okay.
Yeah, didn't pick up on that detail. Yeah, he does. Yeah, that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Laura tells the kids that she wants them in bed before Jimbo arrives, and Bod's response to this is, why do you like him? He's just a good-looking rebel that plays by his own rules, which leads to wishful sighs. Hey, incel.
Yeah, even Lisa.
Yeah.
And I think that the problem here is that they used Jimbo
Yeah.
for all of this. I was just like, nah, it's Jimbo.
We then cut to night court, and Captain McAllister is describing Homer's appearance as if it's some sort of mythical sea monster attacking.
It was a moonless night, dark as pitch.
That was good, man.
A beast more stomach than man.
Amazing.
Lionel Hutz fires back by asking Captain McAllister if he's actually a captain. Responsible.
No.
We then see that the defence's plan is to show how much shrimp Homer actually ate, and we see several mail couriers coming with multiple sacks, and it reveals that they're actually letters for Santa Claus.
I thought this was really weird. I guess this was a reference
I think
to
it's
Miracle on
like
34th Street.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Fortunately, they're in the wrong room.
I want to see a actual example of how much shrimp Homer ate.
The blue-haired lawyer tries to use the defense to Marge that Homer once ate a 10-pound bag of flour when he was really hungry, and
How does he know that?
Marge confirms this is the case, and that's the defense.
How is that a defense? That proves their point.
Homer, meanwhile, is also being delivered a pizza while this is happening.
That made me
And,
just want pizza, man.
I was actually eating pizza when that happened. So
Amazing.
It was a very small world. Lionel Hutz then asks Marge what they did after they were kicked out of the restaurant, and Marge tries to lie at first, but she's reminded she's under oath, and she reveals they drove around for 3 a.m. looking for another restaurant.
All-you-can-eat seafood restaurant, specifically.
Yep.
As the court is shocked by this, Marge eventually reveals that they actually went fishing, which draws further shock. Lionel Hutz asks the immortal question, does this sound like the actions of a man that had eaten all he can eat?
All he could eat.
We then cut to the jury, which is
Very fat.
sympathetic to Homer's cause.
It is a tremendous punchline. It's like Homer is
Yeah.
very much being judged by a jury of his peers. These are 12 fat people who would all do exactly the same thing as Homer in this situation.
Yo, I'd do the same thing. I'm built like a twig.
The foreman, in particular, stands up to declare that could have been him.
That could have been me.
We then see Captain McAllister come to Homer to offer him a business proposition. And we see that said business proposition is that Homer can now eat all he can eat, but he has to stand in the window and be the star attraction to the Flying Dutchman.
Yep.
As Bottomless Pete.
I don't know why Marge has to be there, though.
Yeah, why is Marge there, yo? That's so mean.
Marge is sat there looking completely mortified in the window, as the patrons outside declare that he's hideous, and someone mentions that he thinks it's a shaved gorilla.
Come and see Bottomless Pete, nature's cruelest mistake. Come for the freak, stay for the food.
I love Homer's boundless confidence as well. He's like, come on, Marge, give him a smile. He thinks this is great. He loves this. He's like, yeah, I don't care about people thinking I'm a freak. I get to eat bottomless shrimp.
Yep.
Gotta admit, they resolved that court case within like 2 minutes. It was quite impressive. Massive sprint through by the writing team.
They had to fit in the getting to the restaurant arc.
We then see that Bart is eavesdropping on Laura and Jimbo, and Jimbo starts doing that teenage thing of putting the moves on.
In the weirdest way.
Yeah, his shirt was chafing him. He had to take it off.
I mean, I kind of just read this as like, they're teens, it's
Yeah.
awkward. Of course it's awkward, they're teens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely accurate. But yeah, as a 30-year-old watching it, I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Bart realizes he's got to stop a teenage pregnancy here, so we cut to Moe's, and Ruth Powers is trying to get a free beer, and Moe's trying to get out anyway he can.
No, this is
Bo's Cavern.
Bo's Cavern.
It doesn't work, and Moe ends up having to curse the Springfield Welcome-mobile.
Knew it would ruin me.
Well, Moe receives his customary prank phone call, and the name used is Amanda Hug and Kiss, and Moe makes a point that he laments the fact that he can't
Why
find
can't I find Amanda Hug and Kiss?
It's been a long time since we had a prank call, and we get 2 in this episode.
Yep.
This leads to everybody laughing and Barney to declare that Moe's standards are too high.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Mo threatens the man that he's going to shove a sausage down his throat and stick starving dogs up his butt. At which point,
Accurate.
Bart reveals that he's actually Jimbo Jones and gives her the address. Mo declares this as Jimbo somehow slipping up and pulls out his very rusty blade, which he's...
Mo is not a smart man.
Rusty and dull.
Mo leaps over the bar to leave and tells Barney not to steal any beer while he's gone.
Oh God, no!
Oh, yeah, no, this was a gross bit.
Barney is offended that Mo thinks he's that pathetic, but then notices that there's some beer in the ashtray.
What kind of pathetic drunk do you think I am? And yet, oh God, no, that's so fucking wrong.
We then get cut to a very manic Mo running across the mall.
This was so weird again.
That was weird.
And then,
Where's that map?
Mo consults his map, and then we see that Laura and Jimbo are still making out the sofa as Mo very creepily comes
That's
up to
crazy. Now my pants are chafing.
Mo kicks down the door and declares that Jimbo has made his second mistake of the night. This leads to Jimbo weeping and begging for Mo to leave him alone as Bart sticks the knife in further by going, "That's your outlaw?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mo declares that he wasn't actually going to kill Jimbo, he was just going to cut him.
Just gonna cut you.
But
Yeah.
Jimbo is so pathetic, Mo decides it's not worth it, then realizes he's got to get back to the bar to check on Barney.
This also just read as like a fantasy of like, oh, this is what I wish would have happened to the bully in my school kind of thing.
Yeah.
Conan, are you okay? Do you go to therapy?
This is his fault.
Yeah, this is his what's the word? Closure.
I mean, I could kind of see it, I'll be honest, yeah.
We go back to Barney, and Barney is now just drinking liquor out of the tap. He then declares that his heart has stopped, and Barney just goes still for a moment.
This awkward silence.
Fortunately for Barney, it starts going again.
Well, there it goes.
We then come back to Mo, who's also manically running back to the bar.
Yep.
But he runs into a wishing well, unfortunately.
Why a wishing well?
Just to chuck it in, I guess. You have to
Gotta have a wishing well somewhere.
Don't have a wishing well.
Laura breaks up with Jimbo, and Jimbo gets his shirt back very pathetically. And Laura thanks Bart for being right about Jimbo being pathetic, and she tells Bart that if he was a couple of years older and he had a bad teenage mustache, she'd date him in a second. And Barney gets his little kiss.
Barney?
Bart,
Barney.
sorry. But Barney may have been kissed at some point, I don't know. Not by Laura, we could stress. We then see that Laura is now making her own prank call, and Bart gives the name Ivana Tickle, and Mo again makes a great point of...
Put down your glasses, Ivana Tinkle.
This leads to everyone laughing, including Homer and the sea captain, who are now the best of friends. And we see that the episode just ends with Bart and Laura laughing.
Yep.
Laura never appears in The Simpsons again, just in case anyone wondered.
Are you sure? I thought that...
I think her mum does.
Her mum does,
okay.
but she does not.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it seemed weird to me, like, that they're not slightly more prominent characters, given that they are literally now the Simpsons' next door neighbors. Like, we see Flanders all the time, but the Powers, no, they're exactly as close to them as the Flanders, but we never see them.
What else could you do with them, though? Is the question there? What other plot lines could you do? Maybe
whatever
like
the writers want.
We've already done the Rebel Lisa episode, so you couldn't have Laura getting Lisa to be a rebel or whatever. There's just not a lot to be done with them.
How did we feel about the episode on the whole?
I enjoyed it. Good episode.
It went by really quickly, but I would say it was pretty mediocre. It had some good bits, but it was fine. Like, you know, considering it's one that I remember so, like, I have, like, a moment so clearly burned into my brain, there's just not a lot of major laughs, just a few good chuckles.
I'm not massive on the main storyline, but I do love the B storyline with the...
The B story was great, yeah.
And I do like the Barney Mo interactions. They did make me laugh.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I just have a real soft spot for the sea captain, obviously.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, he's great.
I think it is another example episode of the B plot could have just been the A plot and it would have been a better episode. Because the A plot was weird.
It's weird that the B plot was kind of like rewritten as well. Like the original premise was actually they really wanted to get comedian Don Rickles on, a name I'm only familiar with because they lampoon him in a later episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And also a gag that comes up in that later portrayal is he has the line that I'm a nice guy, runs off singing it. And I was like, what on earth? I do not get this. I just assumed I didn't get it because I don't know Don Rickles.
Yeah.
But also, apparently, he didn't want to appear in this episode. He turned down the offer to guest star in this because they portrayed him as a mean guy. And I was like, oh, he's not a mean guy. He's a nice guy. I was like, I'm wondering if there's a connection and a joke there because he was like, no, I don't want to be a mean guy. So they wrote a story where he's a nice guy. They still didn't get him to do the voice acting. They still just got one of the regular guys to portray Don Rickles. He still did not guest star.
Amazing.
But yeah, weird. Just a weird thing.
What are you giving it out of Homer?
I'm giving it a blow in your nose on your shirt out of Homer. You could still wear the shirt, but should you?
What? Okay.
As in, I could rewatch this episode, but should I?
I see.
John, what are you giving it?
I give it unlimited seafood out of Homer. It's a good time, but not for Marge.
Am I Marge in this scenario then?
No, it's just like one of my main takeaways. Like, I really enjoyed the episode, but like I was also at the end of it left feeling like, poor Marge. She had such a rough time this episode. Like, just had a horrible time of it.
It's a miserable day.
I'm giving it a being kicked out of the all-you-can-eat restaurant out of Homer. I've eaten my fill and I'm happy, but I'm not full.
Society.
All-you-can-eat food places are a lie.
Yeah,
I think there was a little bit in there, and I guess maybe you guys can weigh in on this to share your perspectives on it, but like about sort of the parental role in relationships and sex ed stuff, with Homer just being basically useless at it. And I think there's probably an element of a lot of parents kind of don't really want to have to do that and will try and avoid it. And end of the day, my experience is I didn't get that from any family figures, honestly. I got whatever rudimentary mid-noughties school provisions there were, and the rest of it's just figure it out as you go along.
Yeah. You could take it further as well, of like the whole dynamic that a boy should be taught this by his father, because Marge just basically outright refuses to give the talk herself, even though she should kind of assume that Homer would be shit at it.
I think, like you say, most of it was just you learned it you got mechanics of it at school, and 90s media specifically sort of filled in the rest of the blanks.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, and for basically everyone of my generation, like, certainly for queer people, like, all our relationships and sex ed stuff that came from a public place, i.e. schools, like, was very much shaped by the era of Section 28, the thing where you're not allowed to, like, tell kids that gay people exist. You know?
Good times.
Yeah, so that's how I didn't figure out much of my identity till nearly 30.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thatcher.
Britain. Thatcher, mainly.
Yeah. I noted that, frivolous lawsuits solve everything. And that also writers of comedy will never get over that one time a girl didn't like them in high school and went for the charismatic and confident bully. Like, this is such a trope in, like, just comedy in general, but, like, specifically sitcoms. There will always be at least one episode where the guy who is clearly the nice guy doesn't get the girl and the girl goes with some bully, but then miraculously the nice guy, wins in some ridiculous fashion. And I just think I just a little message to comedy writers out there: grow the fuck up, go to therapy. It's really sad, because that's all I see when I watch these episodes is just like the writer living out their pathetic little fantasy.
You mentioned the frivolous lawsuit thing, and it did cross my mind to wonder whether it was kind of some sort of pushback against the idea that there are too many frivolous lawsuits around post the McDonald's coffee lawsuit thing.
Yeah.
Then I looked it up, and the McDonald's coffee lawsuit was 1994, so that was 2 years after this episode aired, so it can't have been.
I mean, frivolous lawsuits have always been a thing. When health insurance was a thing, loads of people were genuinely shooting themselves, like getting their friend to shoot them in the left arm so they could exploit their health insurance or sue gun manufacturers. And then we all noticed that they were all bullshit because everyone was conveniently shot in the left arm.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I suppose true enough, but I feel like the point at which it became like
Was the coffee McDonald's
the coffee thing,
scalding
yeah, made it very public, like a bit where people were like, oh my god, she sued because she poured coffee over herself. Oh my god, and got $500,000 for it. Are you kidding me? Like, I can pour hot coffee over myself. Can I have $500,000?
Yeah.
It kind of made it this very much this public talking point of frivolous lawsuits. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, shall we move on? Once I've told you Nate Meyer's score, which was 3 out of 5.
That's pretty fair.
Just shoehorning that one in.
Pretty fair,
Yeah, it's
you know.
fine.
Season 4, episode 9, Mr. Plow.
Absolute classic, apparently.
Which it is. It is an absolute classic. Everyone knows Mr. Plow. That's his name. That name again is Mr. Plow.
Mhm.
This aired on November 19th, 1992.
And funnily enough, my first note for this episode was I was right. Because there's Joy McClure.
I know live like dead. Do you want to know what happened on this day?
Yeah, go on then. I just wanted to drop that in straight away. Carry on.
All right, that was that. That's what happened on this day. And back to the number ones.
Ah, good.
US number one is still How Do You Talk to an Angel? But Boys to Men has finally been dethroned.
Oh, you... Okay, right. I'm annoyed that you missed the obvious joke. Boys to Men reached the end of the road.
I am too good for this. I tell you what, would I lie to you? Yes, I would. Because Charles and Eddie certainly did.
You're all right, Michael.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
just told you what the UK number one was.
Yeah, I know.
I have no idea about either of these songs, though.
No, me
No
neither.
clue.
I think you would have heard Would I Lie to You?
Yeah, it sounds vaguely familiar. It's probably like a radio song, you know, like I've been in
Yeah.
the car and it's been on kind of thing.
I don't
Would
recognize it from the name
lie to
alone.
you, baby? Would I lie
Oh,
to you?
yes. Do you know,
Oh,
I actually
yeah.
kind of like that song.
There you go. See, the song I actually know.
Also, excellent rendition.
Thank you. I will be leaving for Hollywood in the morning.
It's going to take you
Oh, I-
singing to it at Cyprus.
I probably could, to be fair, get into a fairly successful club career.
Oh, damn
Very cool.
confidence. I like it.
Okay, so Blackboard Gag. A burp is not an answer.
Yeah,
the intern was not earning his money this week.
I genuinely gapped it. Like, I when we got to this episode, I was like, oh, I can find out what the chalkboard gag is. So I just gapped it. Yeah, I mean, hilarious,
You can't-
I guess.
The couch gag, there is only one single chair where the couch used to be, and everybody sits on it, and Maggie just pops out through the middle.
I just
That's
realised I also
charming.
gapped the fucking couch gag. Fucking hell.
The episode begins with the television show from Hawaii. It was beautiful Maliki Islands, which are not for lepers anymore.
I don't get it. Can someone explain?
I had to look this up to find out the context. It was, in fact, a leper colony as recent as 1969. Like, if you got leprosy, they put
sent you
you
to
in a
an
little
island.
colony on
Yeah, they
Molokai
sent-
Island,
yeah, they
and
sent you
you
to an island.
lived out your days and died there until they invented a cure for leprosy, and then eventually they were like, okay, maybe you guys don't have to, like, die here. But
That's a
it
weird
was
question.
genuinely...
Because this is just one of those gaps in my knowledge because I never felt the need to learn it. What the fuck is leprosy? Is it a virus or a disease?
It is
Is that-
bacterial, so you can cure it or fight it with antibiotics, which is why it's like pretty much under control these
So it's
days.
an infection.
Yes. It's not very transmissible, but it can be transmitted. And yeah, at one point, the solution to it was ship everyone off to an island.
The only thing, like, whenever lepers are mentioned, I always just think of the Jabberwocky, Michael Palin, and who's the artist for Monty Python? What's his name? Terry Gilliam? Anyway,
Terry Gilliam, yeah,
Terry Gilliam and Michael
apart-
Palin, the Jabberwocky. There's a scene in that where this sheltered guy goes to a city and meets supposedly a leper, and he speaks to him, and he's like, what happened? He's like, I cut my own leg off because I was making no money as a beggar until I cut my leg off. And then he suddenly
Right.
started making money. And yeah, every time I just think of that instead. Go watch the Jabberwocky. It's surprisingly really good. and very, very Monty Python. If you need a bit more Monty Python in your life.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, Simpsons.
The Carnival of the Stars
I
is
hate
taking
you guys.
place. Yeah. Good.
Good.
The Carnival of the Stars is taking place, and it is hosted by everyone's favourite Troy McClure. And we may
You may
remember
remember from The Erotic Adventures of Hercules.
I'd watch
which-
them.
Okay.
I've watched
Dial M.
Hercules in New York. I'll watch anything to do with Hercules, man.
It does sound like a porno parody of Hercules in New York.
yeah.
Yeah.
and Dial M for Murderous.
Which is a reference to just Dial M for
Murderousness.
murder.
Yeah.
We see that Homer is watching this from Moe's Tavern, and at the same time, we see that Krusty has appeared on the screen, and he's trying to tame 3 tigers. It does not go. This does not go particularly well. As Krusty is attacked by the tigers, and Bart, who's watching it from home, declares that they're going to be chewing on him for a while, and it's cute to turn the channel over, and Bumblebee Man is now being chased by a giant fly swatter by the police.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
I was talking about something similar, like the violent, like Krusty being attacked by 3 lions and being fine. I was talking about this recently because I saw on Reddit, and I know don't go on Reddit, but I was on Reddit, and it was like, who's the worst father, like cartoon father or whatever, you know. So it was showing all kinds of characters, but one of them was Homer. And you know me, as a staunch Homer defender, I had to like look into all this. And someone pointed it out, and it made I kind of like thought about it even further. They were talking about, you've got to think about how absurdist Simpsons is. Is Homer an abusive father in terms of Simpsons, in the Simpsons world? And then I kind of thought, well, yeah, considering how easy it is to survive things like falling down the Springfield Canyon, smacking your head on several rocks, and being fine, choking someone isn't that bad. Which, take that out of context.
Yeah.
You know, so I
get you.
It was that kind of thought. This is nothing to do with the episode, but just it came to mind again because of the Krusty thing, and I was like, yeah, the violence in like you can survive basically anything except getting hit by a shirt and falling off a set of seats.
That's fatal.
That's fatal, but everything else is fine. You
Things
only
are
die
fatal when the writers need it to
exactly.
be
It's
fatal.
only fatal when the plot needs it to be fatal. So I wanted your guys' opinion on it because I only spoke to like one other person. Like, do you think Homer, in the context of Simpsons, is a bad father?
No, because anything that he does wrong, he does out of ignorance,
Yeah, he's very
So-
rarely malice.
and he does attempt to, when he realizes he's done something wrong, he does attempt to make it right.
Yeah,
He usually
So-
does make some sort of efforts at redeeming himself, yes.
Yeah. I mean, again, obviously, like
he was a shitty husband last episode, but it's not a father thing.
was he a shitty husband or was he just?
He dragged
He
his
took it
wife to be
into a-
humiliated in the window.
No,
With,
but again,
eating
out
a
of
food source that
ignorance.
might have killed her.
Oh, that's true. No, yeah, he did take it
That-
to
oh,
her.
yeah.
That's
that
true.
too.
That's but yeah, in the context of the real world, Homer's a fucking despicable human being. But it's interesting that people do often, and we do it as well. Like, I just did it with the whole gamer joke in the last episode. We do forget sometimes to judge what's happening in the context that it was A, written, and B, the show itself, the world itself. You know, so just an interesting thought. You know, thought I'd bring that to the table, and you guys are going to sit in silence for a few seconds, and then Michael's going to go okay, and then we're going to carry on talking about the fucking show.
Well, I think surely the whole point of this podcast is that it is interesting to analyze the culture of 1992 from the perspective of 2024, right?
Yeah, I think it is. But I also try and maintain that reminder. I always want to be conscious of the fact that this was written in 1992. You know, again, like the gay joke thing we talked about. John, as our resident queer, do you think this would be considered the gay joke would be considered like too much now? Like, do you think that kind of joke would get on telly these days?
What, from the last episode?
Yeah, sorry, I know I'm bringing it way back, but you know, I thought I'd bring some analysis to the show again.
Interesting question. I don't know.
Because you
Don't
were
know.
offended, but do you think
No.
other people would be?
I don't I don't think so, but I don't know. It's always hard to tell with that sort of thing. Like, would someone else be offended?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Someone's
impossible to
always
say
offended.
whether someone would be offended by something, but I don't know. It felt fairly benign to me. Like, the butt of the joke in that was the bullies having their own biases and prejudices turned around on them. Like, the reason they felt attacked by it was their own internalized
Yeah.
homophobia. That's why the joke landed at their expense.
Yeah.
Which I think it wasn't a joke at the expense of gay people. It was at the expense of the bullies.
At the expense of the bigots, yeah. Sorry, as well, the only reason because again, people will get offended. The reason I asked John for his opinion specifically was not because, John's queer. It was because it would be very fucking gauche of me as a straight white guy to be like, I don't know why white matters, but, you know, as a largely straight guy to go, oh, well, no one would be offended by that. You know, that's why I asked. But Michael, do you have thoughts? Do you think it would be too much for TV these days?
Well, it depends. Because here's the thing that I think people, and this may be a generalization, and I'm sure that John will correct me if you think I'm going wrong with this generalization. I think people tend to get offended for other people without maybe sometimes understanding the full context. I mean,
Yeah.
That's true. That joke that made in Simpsons, I can see why that wouldn't bother you, but I can see why somebody that claims to be
An ally.
ally and very prominent on Twitter would probably say that this is the single most offensive thing of all time.
Yeah, that it'd appear on a list of, like, examples of dated jokes in TV kind of thing.
Yeah, potentially.
I mean, I know it's a very grey line, and I think there is some stuff where it is just genuinely offensive.
Yeah.
But it kind of falls into that grey area for me. But I mean, I don't find it offensive, but I'm a straight male, so
yeah,
I'm not the qualified person to ask.
Exactly.
I mean, within that space, the one bit that felt slightly iffier to me was giving the estate agents the stereotypical gay voice that they did.
Oh yeah, they did do that.
Yeah.
I sort of zoned over that. I apologize.
Yeah, they skirt the line as Simpsons
it was
does.
It was not really there, but it was a detail I picked up on. It was just a thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have an estate agent. We need to do a voice for it. There, make him gay.
Yeah.
Or camp, I suppose.
Yeah, camp.
I mean, The Simpsons has worse episodes where it's clearly...
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we're glossing over the character of fucking Smithers right now. That the only, like, really prominent gay character in this show at this point, even though he isn't named gay, is a pathetic little arse-licking weasel. So,
I mean,
there's that.
Yeah, Smithers is an awkward one. We have discussed him in the past, but like I'm most of Smithers' whole character, I'm sort of inclined to hand wave away, I guess, for the reasons the writers gave early on. Is like, he at this point in The Simpsons' existence, they didn't see Smithers as a gay character. They didn't see him as homosexual. They explicitly said they saw him as Burns sexual.
Yeah.
Like, he's not attracted to men. He's attracted to Mr. Burns, and that is it.
Yeah, I guess it's like
they will flesh him out later. We know this, but like in season 4, he was Burns sexual.
I guess, but that could just be seen as a little hand wavy.
Maybe.
Anyway, Simpsons. I know we're talking about Simpsons, but that's what we say when we get back on track. So anyway, Simpsons.
God, where were we?
It is starting to snow.
Okay, yes, it is starting to snow when Marge asks Homer to come home, and we see that Homer is struggling to see as he's swerving on the road. Eventually, Homer hits a car, gets out and says that at least he got the other guy as
Love how proud he is.
They then cut to the family standing in the doorway looking horrified, and Homer realizes he's backed into his own other car.
And then we get the great shot of the tow truck picking up both cars. Like, it's towing the first car, but because they're so mashed together, they're like one car getting towed away. It's just great visuals.
Mm-hmm.
The insurance man is about to give Homer the check, but asks him what Mose was and if it was some sort of business. Homer's own brain works out that he probably shouldn't say he was in a bar, but he wonders what was open at midnight, and he goes for the pornography store.
I was buying pornography. It's the way he says it, man. It's so good.
Homer's brain then congratulates him by saying he would have never thought of that.
It's true, he wouldn't have.
We then see that Homer is now hitchhiking to get to the car dealership, and the window opens to reveal a pig, which is in there because...
I don't know why that got me. That got me so much. Because the pig's face, the pig gives him a judgmental look.
Mm-hmm.
Which he was trying to do, because Farmer reveals that the pig has to sit up front because it can't be trusted by the watermelons, and we see that Homer
Just leave
is
it at
eating...
home, bruh. Like, just leave the pig at home. Why do you bring the pig?
Now Zeke's gonna come with.
Zeke's gotta come with.
Homer's just eating the watermelons as he arrives at Crazy Black Lab's place of
I think we can all
automobiles.
agree, though, I would go fucking ham on watermelons. Like, I love watermelon. Holy shit, is watermelon the best?
We then see that Homer has squeezed himself into a very small car, which can go 300 hectares on a single tank of kerosene.
I love this, but this bit stayed. I didn't remember which episode this bit was from. Like, this bit is obviously lodged into my brain, or at least the line "put it in age."
Put it in age.
Put it in age is so good. I did not
He has to push
remember
the
which episode
car.
it was from.
As Homer asks what country the car's from, Crazy Black Lab reveals that it does not no
It does
longer
not exist anymore.
And it does lead to Homer taking his test drive, in which Black Lab has to push him out of the...
I don't know if either of you wrote this down, because I would love to know if it is actually words, but when he says, "This car will surely make you say," and then he says something, I think in Russian, but it could be any Eastern European language.
I am going to Google that because I did not check that.
He said, because he says like something in another language as if it's like a very common phrase. I'd be very curious to know what it is, and if it is anything, or if it is gibberish.
Okay, so Simpson Reddit r/Simpsons shitposting has analysed this.
So this clearly is a reliable source, okay.
It is a weird mishmash of a number of languages. You've got Zagreb, which is a city in Croatia. Ebnen is German for flattening or paving. Zloty is the Polish currency, also just mean gold. And Dien is Vietnamese for for crazy. So
yeah, they just wanted to not offend anyone by offending everyone.
Yeah, so the vague general gist of it that is suggested here is that it's like driving on streets paved in gold in Zagreb.
Okay.
That kind of makes sense, yeah. That's an actual... Well, no, it's not an actual phrase, but it sounds like one.
You can see that the kids have not taken up Crazy Vaclav on his offer, and we've ended up at the auto show. And
sorry, I have to note the detail though that we glossed over. The hood ornament on the car is a fly.
I did not notice that.
I noticed
I've only
it was
just noticed
weird.
it.
I didn't look at it enough to notice it was a fly.
Yep.
I just love that it also is very clearly a three-wheeler. Because you can only see the two back wheels. You can't
it totally is.
Yeah, you can't see
Yep.
the front wheels.
Oh, such a good little gay little Soviet car. I love it.
A gay little Soviet car is now my favorite insult. I love that Homer has his legs right up to his head.
He's so cramped.
Yeah.
We then see at the auto show that Homer enters a competition to try to win a fancy car, and he asks the beautiful model if she comes with the car, and she just giggles and says, "Oh, you." The next guy comes up, and immediately the same interaction happens.
Yeah, and she says it exactly the same way. We need jokes like this. Jokes like this need to be constant, because genuinely, jokes like this remind me to not say shit like that. You know, like when an item doesn't get scanned, you know, and it's like, oh, I guess it's free. I'm a dad joker. We all know this. I bite my tongue. I bite my tongue so hard when the opportunity to say shit like that comes out, because I can imagine that woman fucking murderous intent.
Well, she's trained.
We all need a good trained woman from time to time, Michael. Thank you for the
well, trained to deflect lecherous men with ease.
Yes.
Yeah, sure, that's what I meant. We then cut to Bart, and Bart is in the Bonnie and Clyde death car doing some machine gunning. Homer tells him to have a bit more respect, and Bart hits the glove compartment, which has some money in it.
Anyone else notice that when Homer was walking by, you could not see him through the bullet holes in the glass, but you could see him through the glass?
Yeah.
Really weird detail.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I guess that's just the laziness of the animators.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing, though. They just draw the bullet hole, and then, like, it's more effort to make him not visible through them.
You've got to answer.
You would think.
We then cut to Lisa watching a crash test for the Fourth Reich motors, and we see the crash.
Fourth Reich motors, Jesus.
And we see the car going to the wall, and we see that one of the dummies starts crawling away, which Lisa inquires about, and the exhibit is immediately closed.
This exhibit is closed.
We then cut to Homer being excited to see the Batmobile, and oh look, it's Adam West. And
Genuinely is.
Homer introduces him as Batman, and the kids don't believe that it is Batman, and Adam West comes out, and I assume that this was just Adam West riffing.
Entirely possible.
Because he just goes off onto a bit of a tangent about his muscles in his costume being
Adam West
his.
is a very uncomfortable presence in any cameo he does, because he always just plays himself, and he always plays a massive pervert. And as we know from more and more biographies and autobiographies, he was just a massive pervert. And he just is really proud of it.
Huh.
It wasn't too bad here. I mean, he lists off all the Batwoman.
He was
and,
asked to leave a city because he was having sex too much.
What?
Genuinely true.
I do believe that, yeah.
Okay.
But basically, this basically just ends with Adam West starting to dance as the kids walking on.
Yeah, doing the why doesn't Batman dance anymore?
Also, maybe one of you who are more cultured than I can explain, what's the deal with the weird camera angles?
I think it's supposed to reference an episode in the 60s where he does actually Batman does actually start dancing, and he does those exact dance moves, and they sort of move the camera from side to side to make it look a bit more trippy.
But Adam West shows up again later in the episode, and they do the same thing, that as he's talking, the camera like turns to one side.
Yeah, Batman was famous for that particular camera angle.
Yeah.
Okay, right. That's what I wanted to know. I was like, is this the old school Batman stuff? Right, fair enough.
As Homer and the kids try to get the hell away from Adam West, he bumps into the Kumatsu Motor snowplow, and Homer imagines what he could do with this particular plow, and it's basically he's at the White House, and George W. Bush gets Homer to drive through some protesters.
Oh, that's a bit rough in the context of 2024, though. Oof.
Yep.
Homer, in every Republican's wet dream, says he's about to give those youngsters a dose of reality.
Yeah.
There are way too many people who are way too keen to drive through a crowd of protesters in this day and age.
Yep.
As the salesman tries to encourage Homer on the idea of using the snowplow to earn some money, Homer says he needs to discuss it with Marge, and the salesman stops making the whip cracked sound. And Homer's response to this is, "You really think I'm going to buy a $20,000 truck just because you made that sound?" He then makes the sound 3 more times, and Homer caves.
That truck costing 20 grand in 92 makes me sad.
I mean, I noted the price as well, which, like, that sounds pretty cheap, and I feel like even in 1992, I feel like that sounds cheap for an entire ass snowplow.
I'm guessing it's like a part payment thing, because again, you're like paying off the rest of it via the doing the job thing. But yeah, something like that, a snowplow, I'd be confident saying $1 million at that point. Those things are not cheap because they are incredibly powerful and, can drive in snow.
Also, not to sound too much like a stuck record, but that's 3 months' salary for Homer.
Yep.
Editing Moroka here, because this was something I was just genuinely quite curious about, and it turns out that no, snowplows don't cost anywhere near $1 million. I mean, maybe there are some high-end brand new models that can cost $1 million, but like a casual quick Google, like there are a bunch at like fairly reasonable prices. There are some you can buy now that cost less than what Homer paid for in 1992. So genuinely kind of seems like Homer paying $20,000 for it, probably potentially a reasonable price, actually.
We then cut back to Marge claiming that Homer should not have bought the snowplow, and Homer's response to this is that if Marge is going to yell at him for every time he does something stupid, he's going to stop doing stupid things, and Marge's response to this is
Good.
Homer then declares that he will never do anything stupid again, and immediately turns around and walks into the open door of the snowplow.
Oh, me, that looked like it hurt.
And Homer's response to this is no. Then cut to Homer advertising his business by putting out loads of flyers, but unfortunately the wind blows them away. We then cut to Barney dressed as a baby, pointing out to Homer the futility of what he's doing as several patrons ignore Barney's attempts to hand out flyers, including one man declaring that Barney sickens him.
Tell him Big Baby sent you.
Barney then says that they can't catch a break, but Barney can't sink any lower. At that moment, his diaper flies off and Barney chases it down the street.
Runs into his mum, who actually lives in fucking Denmark.
Yeah, she was just there.
Yeah, she just came by. Or Norway, I think. One of the two.
We then see Homer in church, and Homer's been invited to give a guest reading, but instead he plugs his business as Reverend Lovejoy mentions how low this is.
Not as low as my prices.
He's then kicked out, and
Church bounces.
Yep, yeah, those are the exact words I wrote down. Church bouncers.
As Homer laments the fact that he's about to lose his snowplow, Lisa suggests buying some advertising time, and the demonstration of this is our good friend the sea captain.
He's back.
Yeah.
And he's got sea shanties, and the particular commercial is a romantic couple having a glass of wine by the fire while Row 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 Your Boat is singing in the background.
90 sea shanties on 3 compact discs. Fuck yeah. Sign me up. I want this. I'm here for this. I would buy the shit out of this.
I'm going to buy you some sea shanties. That's what I'm going to do.
You also get a free tape of flute sounds.
Although I will note they call them sea chanties, not sea shanties. It's weird.
Maybe there's a weird copyright or something?
Pretty sure shanty's just a genre, but okay.
We then see that Homer has bought advertising time. Unfortunately, it's at 3 a.m. Bart asks who would be up at this time, and Homer lists alcoholics, loners, and the unemployable.
Yep.
So he's basically describing me.
You're not unemployable.
You have a job, my dude. I know you do.
I know you do. There's a weird threatening aura to that sentence, man. I know you do.
We then see that the commercial comes on, and it's the family acting themselves, including Grandpa Simpson as Old Man Winter.
This was really wholesome.
It was quite good, yeah.
Grandpa is dressed in some sort of homemade devil outfit, and he starts
No, it's
kicking...
pajamas. It's like long johns.
It is.
Oh yeah, it's on Jones. He starts kicking snow at the family until Homer arrives, and Homer tells him to get away, and actually physically kicks him up the arse to do it, as Grandpa just casually walks back to the house.
I have a headache. I need to lie down. I love Abe Simpson, man. He's the best.
Homer's sale pictures that you will inevitably cut your hands off with a snowblower, and you will suffer a heart attack if you shovel the snow yourself. And we see that Lisa asks Homer how they can afford such low prices, and Homer says that people will think he suffered brain damage by the amount he's charging. Bart asks if Homer is licensed by the city, and Homer has to tell him to
Shut up, boy.
He also offers a free T-shirt if you call now, which weird, slightly recurring bit. He holds up a T-shirt and is like to show us, I guess, the one he's planning to give away, which is Stockdale for Veep. Stockdale was the vice presidential candidate running on an independent ticket in the 1992 election.
How the hell does that work?
So he would be the VP of whoever got elected who already has a VP.
Well, no, so there was an independent candidate running, so not a Republican, not a Democrat running, and they nominated this Stockdale guy to be his vice president. So he had the independent candidate being elected. He would have been Veep.
Okay.
Which is, Homer has previously referenced obscure independent candidates for president in the past as well. Homer has a weird knowledge of independent candidates. Like, who follows politics this closely that, like, they know all the indie candidates in American politics?
I think part of it is to regularly make it clear that Homer is neither Republican nor Democrat.
Maybe.
Because they don't, if they actually picked a side, they would eliminate a large portion of their audience.
So what we're learning is that Homer would vote for RFK Jr.
I think he'd vote for the dude with the Wellington boot on his head.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, dude, just Google presidential candidate Wellington boot on head or whatever. He is absurd, hilarious, and one of his policies for the because he's ran every election for like 20 years just as a bit, And one of
Vermin Supreme?
Yes.
Vermin Love Supreme?
Vermin Supreme, one of his policies is that everyone gets a free horse. And that's one of his most normal policies.
He's part of the Libertarian Party, actually.
Oh, right. Well, because I think he's doing it as he's making a point. He's not just doing it because he's like, I think I could be president.
Yeah, he has campaigned on a platform of zombie apocalypse awareness and time travel research and promised a free pony for every American.
Yeah, there it is.
What more do you need?
Okay, so this is America's Count Binface, then, clearly.
Yes.
Okay.
After Homer sings the Mr. Plow jingle for the first time, he then declares that it's now time to play the waiting game. We get a few moments of silence, but Homer decides that the waiting game sucks and they decide to play Hungry Hungry Hippos.
Can we also note that, like, as soon as the commercial ends, it goes to, like, I don't know what you call it. There's, like,
the testing thing, what it is.
Yeah, like the test card, isn't
Just
it?
dead
It's
air.
Colours and numbers, and yeah, basically, this was the last thing that aired on this channel that night. It's clear. Broadcast has now ended. The Simpsons were the singular last thing to air on this channel.
Yeah, they didn't end on a show. They ended
Nope.
on ads.
Yep.
But as we see, it is effective because we see Homer ploughing the Quickie Mart, and Apu is happy about this, failing to notice the armed robbery that's about to take place.
Let's do this.
We then see that he cleans the driveway of the retirement centre, and Grandpa declares they can go if they want, before deciding it's cold and they're frightened.
I'm cold and frightened.
We then go to the school, and Martin has somehow hiked his way there through the snow, but he's neither bothered because Homer has cleared the way, and Skinner thanks Bart by saying his dad is responsible. Nelson and the rest of the school kids beat the crap out of him with snowballs.
The
including one kid
visuals there of Bart getting hit by snowballs seems very akin to a film.
It was. It's a reference to a thing. Godfather. It's a reference to the Godfather.
There you go.
Yeah.
I also just liked how seriously Principal Skinner was like, there will be no class today. Because Principal Skinner loves fucking teaching, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. We then see that Mayor Quimby is delighted that Homer has meant that people don't have to get public transport or carpool. So that gains Homer the key to the city. We then see that Homer gets a free beer from Moe, and Barney's shocked because he didn't even give any to those Iranian hostages, and most
They
responses
shouldn't have
is,
been there in the
"Been
first
there."
place.
Good lord. Yep. Okay.
Okay, hell. And Barney's upset about this, but Homer tries to give him a pep talk, telling him to pull up his diaper and go out there and be the best Barney Gumble he can be. This inspires Barney to run out into the street screaming, and we hear him crash into several things. Homer asks Moe how he thinks he'll do, and Moe's pretty confident that he's going to do just fine.
There's a lot of bits in this that I'm just like, you just needed filler. It's like
That
Barney
was-
running out, hitting the trash can, and then it's like, you could have just ended the scene there. Why did you have... Or ended it with Homer saying, how do you think he's going to do? You didn't need this bit of Moe saying, I think he's going to be fine. It's just weird.
Yeah, potentially.
It's just weird pacing.
We then cut to the Simpson bedroom, and Marge, we've now discovered what Marge's new turn on in, which is Homer in his Mr. Plow jacket.
Guys, Marge is so fucking horny.
By the way, if you want this jacket, you can buy it on Etsy for 55 quid, I found. You can have a Mr. Plow jacket.
I'm not surprised.
Pair it up with a pair of MeUndies, and
Oh boy.
Yo,
Marge?
I'd love a pair of MeUndies that said Mr. Plow.
Mr. Plow me undies, hit us up. Give us a cut to the commission on your Mr. Plow undies.
Yeah, MeUndies sponsor us. We're geniuses. We don't just come up with great ideas like my greasy little piglet. We also come up with Mr. Plow.
watch the sexy times roll.
Mm-hmm.
We then see that despite those 60 times rolling, Homer is fully dressed when he wakes up the next morning, ready to plow. But unfortunately, every driveway has been plowed because Barney is now the Plow King. Homer is very sad to learn that Barney has stolen his idea, and Barney tells him it's alright for some friendly competition, before proceeding to shoot Homer's tires out. And
Yeah,
laughing,
literally pulls out a fucking revolver.
and driving away manically laughing.
I didn't remember Barney being so psychotic in this episode, man.
It gets worse because we get to see Barney's commercial, which starts with him beating the hell out of a cardboard cutout of
It's so
Mr.
weird.
Plow with a baseball bat before being dragged off by two stagehands. We then see that, I want to try and get this woman's name right, it's Linda Ronstadt, is it?
Yep, that's the one.
Some woman.
She's a singer.
She is a country singer, as if you couldn't tell from the country song that she sings in a moment.
I thought she sang sea shanties. Sorry,
I
sea
wish.
shanties.
I wish.
Mo asks how Barney got her, and Barney confirms that they've been looking to work on a project for a while.
That was dumb.
It's dumb but funny, though.
No, it wasn't funny.
How did you get Linda Ross? Oh, we've been looking to do something for a while.
Which makes no fucking sense.
Barney just happens to know Linda Ronstadt, and they were looking for a project to do. Yeah, of course. Why not? It's great.
We then see that the country song begins, and it's the nice little jingle for Barney's business, and which ends with Linda Ronstadt declaring that Mr. Plow is a loser, and he's also a boozer.
It is a better song, though, to be fair.
Doesn't quite top Bagged Me a Homer yet, though, for best country song
That's
on
true. That's true.
Simpsons yet.
We then see Homer lament that how Barney could have done this, and after everything Homer has done for him. We then cut to a flashback of Barney preparing for his SATs, and it basically looks like he's going to do quite well until Homer sneaks in and peer pressures him into drinking a beer. And we then see Barney drink the beer, and his face becomes slightly more deranged with every passing second.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of bit with the animation there.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a bold statement, since again we're talking about what Simpson says about society. Because this is a running bit, you know, in like a lot in Simpsons and in a lot of like media, is like like holding a grudge against the guy that gave you your first beer or taste of cocaine or whatever. It is not their fault. It is still your fault for getting, you know, say bold statement. I know, I'm going to offend some people, but that's not Homer's fault in that situation. He was young and stupid and offered him a fucking beer.
To be fair,
whatever.
and play devil's advocate here, Barney does not hold a grudge against Homer. Barney
it's
still
true.
sees Homer as a friend. Like,
Yeah.
you know, business rivalry aside, like, this wasn't to say, oh, this is why Barney's
This is
doing
why
it because
he's
he holds a
doing
grudge.
it. Yeah,
It's,
absolutely.
after all I've done for you, flashback, actually, Homer has never done much good for Barney, but Barney is still friends
Yeah.
with him anyway.
That's accurate. No, that's very fair.
We go back to Adam West, and Homer's upset because Mr. West promised him a job, and Mr. Adam West pretty much says he called Homer 45 minutes ago.
We get the camera
Homer's-
angles again.
This
Yeah,
is the
Adam West-
only moment that, like, we kind of get that Barney, as much as Barney is being a psychopath, he is doing a better job.
Yeah?
Adam West gets in the Batmobile, and it's not quite the dramatic Batmobile driving away that we're accustomed
No,
to.
it's real
It's literally the exhaust is hanging off.
Batman has seen better days.
We then see that Homer is waiting for the phone to ring, and he gets called up by the motor company asking for their payment, and I don't know what happens here, if it just ends with Homer saying, yeah, they were gay. I'm guessing there was a Plow joke in there.
He says, "Mr. Yeah, I'm not that Mr. Plow. I'm Tom Plow." I think he says of Eager for Beaver. I think. And then
He says
there's a silence.
he says Tony Plow from Leave It to Beaver. There
There
was a
we
character called Tony Dow in Leave It to Beaver. Clearly, there's someone on the other end says something else. Yeah, they were gay. Fine.
It's probably a
went-
very, very 90s joke or 80s joke. Like
it went
is
over my head.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't get it. It is definitely a completely. You had to have been watching TV in the 70s, 80s, or 90s. bit
Leave It
to
to
get it.
Beaver's old, I think. First broadcast 1957, ran till...
God, Simpsons. Even the people watching Simpsons
Ran till
writers might
61.
not get that joke.
Yeah, this was like 30 years old, plus. This was as old when The Simpsons aired as it is for us now.
That is wild.
Yeah. Also, bit of trivia on this is they had a whole back and forth with the censors on this, like, because they thought, this again being the 90s and referring to anyone as being gay, they feared it might be libelous. The Simpsons writers' protest was they could be anybody, so they weren't saying anybody was gay. Oh yeah, they were gay. Could have been referring to anyone.
I kind of get that, but if you sue someone over being insinuated that you're gay, you're a piece of shit.
Yes.
Yes, you are, but people do it. The kids suggest that Homer should release it of a commercial, and Homer suggests a rap, and then we get to see the Mr. Plow rappers, which is so bad the cat runs away and the kids beg Homer to never do it ever again.
You know a rap is going to be bad when it opens with "I'm blank and I'm here to say."
We then see that Homer goes to an advertising agency for help, and The guy assures him that he was the guy that created the radio adverts where two people with annoying voices talk to each other.
And Homer just fucking decks him.
Homer
And he's
punches him
really proud of it. He's like, happens all the time.
We then get to see Homer's actual commercial, and it's black and white with a woman-looking thingy. A shirtless man comes in and breaks a snow globe.
Mr. Plow.
Yeah, this was parodying, I think it was a perfume advert that was airing at the time.
Absolutely.
And
I think I vaguely remember.
perfume adverts, even today, are completely unhinged because how do you communicate a smell through TV? You just have
Yep.
to get weird with it and just like
Yeah.
vibes. So yeah, they're just taking the piss
I
out
like
of
the
that.
ones of Johnny Depp playing guitar with wolves.
Again, vibes mainly though. Like I don't know what it smells like. All I
I'm
got
not
is
sa-
a
I'm
Johnny
not
Depp
saying it's
vibe.
I'm not saying it's a good advert for perfume. I'm just saying I enjoy those adverts. I find them very amusing and very enjoyable.
Yeah, I think also, I think I saw something about the music. I think they used Russian opera music because at the time, America and Russia did not respect each other's copyright laws, so nobody was prepared. Nobody would pay the fee to use it. So it was like, yeah, we'll just use Russian music. We don't have to pay them. They're
And
Russian.
also America producing an opera. To explain the joke there, I'm saying Americans have no culture. Anyway, Simpsons.
And to counter you, I will say that Mozart was American.
Fucking shit.
Spoiler alert, he probably wasn't.
Alright, I thought you were genuine. And Mozart,
Mozart was not American.
I'm fairly certain Mozart was German.
He was Austrian, actually.
Can one of us be cultured, please?
Never.
No.
I am like Homer in this key handing back over ceremony, in which the key is handed over to the Plow King, and Mayor Quimby notices that there are bite marks in it, and Homer thought it was made
There's
of
chocolate in it.
It's very awkward.
I also like that Mayor Quimby said past instead of past, like in American. It was very weird. I think that was the guy not quite getting the Clinton impression right.
You mean Kennedy?
Kennedy, nailed it. I have no culture.
We then cut to a news report of the blizzard, and we see that Arnie Pie is in the sky, and he can't see anything, and Kent Botman wants to know what the ski conditions are, and we see that the helicopter is crashing, and Arnie Pie wants
R.I.P.
Kent
Arnie
Botman to
Pie.
I just
and the picture flashes out, and Kent Botman just lightly chuckles.
yeah, it's just oh Arnie, fucking Kent Brockman, man, what a dick.
This gives Homer an idea, and he calls Barney to put in a fake job on Widow's Peak, and Barney's in the hot tub with Linda Rovstad, and apparently this is a 10,000 tip with all the presidents on the dollar bill.
Have you guys noticed the absurd lip movement for Homer?
No.
Like
I think it was supposed to emphasize
like
the
he's
fact that
doing
it
a
was Frody's
voice. Yeah. It was so weird. I was watching it just thinking, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
I think they did that intentionally just to make it show that he was trying to make it obvious
Yeah.
it's not him.
Yeah.
So strange.
As Barney climbs out of the hot tub, Linda Rovstad tells him that she's going to do a Spanish version of the Plow King song, and she starts doing it. Fairly impressive vocal range. Barney does not give a shit.
This is just them getting their money's worth. Of
Yeah,
this
the producer John Vitti described Linda Ronstadt singing the Spanish Plow King jingle as the most beautiful thing he'd ever heard.
What a fucking idiot.
It was nice.
It was nice.
She's got a good voice. I mean, it's not Nessendorium by Pavarotti.
Michael
nice.
adamant to prove that he's cultured.
There
Just
you go.
naming every bit of culture he can.
The Beatles, guys.
I believe he's Australian.
Alright, fucking hell. Jesus.
No, he is not.
Fuck's sake. How have I fallen for that twice?
Pavarotti, the classic Australian surname.
I'm just very trusting and slightly drunk.
Nessendorium, mate.
Mate. Anyway, Simpsons.
Back to this. Homer is picking up on the Plow King's customers as he declares that the Plow King obviously doesn't care about them. One lady asks Homer to watch her asphalt.
Please don't
and Homer's
scrape. Please don't scrape my asphalt. And you can
And Homer's
kiss my
response, "This is
asphalt.
my asphalt," which Homer delights in telling the family later. We then learn that the Plow King is trapped, and we see Barney in his stock footage handing over a check for $50,000 to Shelbyville guy for some random reason.
Why Shelbyville though? Boo Shelbyville.
Yeah, boo for Shelby Hall. But yeah, I guess they're just making him out to be like a really incredibly good guy. It's Barney Gumble. He's philanthropic. He's giving money to charity, and
How
yeah,
much money did he make in the space of a fucking week?
enough to donate $50,000 to the arts, I guess.
You got me there. You got me there.
He's a man of culture.
He is a man of culture. He knows where Pavarotti's from.
He was in a fucking, definitely what looked like a mansion in a hot tub with Linda Ronstadt as well. He making bank.
Yeah. I just realized they do not reset to 0, really, after this. Like, Barney should still be minted.
Kind of not. Yeah.
Anyway, Simpsons.
The footage of the proof of this is the Bigfoot documentary on Fox. Unfortunately, Bigfoot is wearing his watch, but we don't think Barney triggered an avalanche with a burp.
It's like Gandalf, where you can, in Lord of the Rings, you can see Gandalf wearing a watch.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Homer accepts responsibility for this and goes to save Barney, which is basically him in his truck filling up his thermos with beer. Marge begs him not to go, but Homer declares that this mountain is as sturdy as a mountain goat.
And we see goat brutally fucking die.
It didn't die because it made a...
No, I know, but I mean, it really got fucking owned.
The goat is not sure-footed and falls several stories down this mountain, and we get the classic gag of the character's eyes following its descent.
One thing that sent me down a minor Wikipedia rabbit hole was it noted Widow's Peak having an elevation of 13,613, which was like, I did wonder if there's any significance to that, and I cannot figure it out. What I do note is that as per heights, it places it somewhere roughly in the range of the Rocky Mountains kind of heights.
It's a lot of numbers, so maybe it's a phone number. Simpsons has done that before, like in the opening, there's the phone number for their old animation studio.
I mean, it's only 5 numbers. Like, could you get a phone number out of 5 numbers?
No, that's true. Yeah, because in America you'd need another like 6 in it.
Yeah.
Homer sets off, and we see him trying to cross a rickety old rope bridge, but he turns his head and realizes there's a brand new spanking bridge on the other
Yeah,
side.
suspension bridge leading up to a fucking ski slope.
Okay, that bridge, what the fuck is going on with that bridge? Like, I know it's just there for the gag, but, like, there is nothing holding that bridge up.
Nope.
the pillars that the suspension is suspended from are just in the air.
Center.
Like, there is not a thing holding that bridge up. That would collapse instantaneously.
Well, it's a good thing Homer didn't drive on it.
Absolutely, yeah. There you go. He would have had a worse time.
Homer almost falls off the edge of a cliff, but adjusting his radio means he manages to get back onto the
I liked that bit. That was a good bit.
We then see Barney lamenting in the snow that he's about to die, but he's happy that he's going to be able to see his dad, that plant he never watered.
Yeah, his loved ones, his dad, that plant he never watered. Barney leads almost as pathetic a life as Lenny.
Fortunately, Homer comes to clear out the snow and pulls Barney free. Barney declares that they will now be partners, and this makes Homer very happy because he declares that not even God can stop them now. God takes this personally.
Yeah,
and,
God literally canonically talks in The Simpsons. Like, I did not know there was ever an actual bit where God literally talks.
Oh, there's plenty.
No, I know there's... Yeah, that's the thing. I knew there was bits where, like we had the episode the other day where he dreams he's talking to
I'm the
God.
heretic, yeah.
But does God regularly fucking talk?
Not regularly, but...
I think he comes up from time to time.
Yeah, he comes
The
up from time
fuck?
to time. But anyway, God's not having this. He sends the sun and he melts all
He
the
sends the sun. He did that once. It didn't work out.
We then see that Abe and the pensioners are excited that they can now go outside because the snow's melted.
I don't like the look of those teenagers.
And go straight back in. We then see Kent Brockman being delighted that global warming is causing this heat wave in January.
Yeah, doing the traditional, I guess, conservative thing of like, oh, well, hey, global warming means we get nice summers, so like, what are you complaining about?
Yeah.
Homer gets a phone call from the repo position saying they're just distracting him while they take his plow. Homer says, how dumb do you think I am as his plow is being taken away? Marge tells him not to worry about it and tells him that he's still got it. And Homer's excited and goes and puts his jacket on, and we get the
Sexily sings the Mr. Plow theme.
We then get the very R-rated version of the Mr. Plow song.
The forecast declares for lovin'.
And yet another episode ends in banging.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Now you know it's an episode of Simpsons. This was one that we've had this happen a couple times. I definitely enjoyed talking about it more than I did watching it.
Oh, really?
This episode is fine. It is, considering it was a classic episode, I don't think I actually laughed out loud watching the episode much. It's a fun episode, but it's a much more like an actual sitcom kind of episode than it is like the absurdist cartoon that Simpsons becomes. So I wouldn't say this is like a classic episode of The Simpsons. I'd say this is like a classic episode of like season 2 of The Simpsons.
Interesting. Okay.
It was okay. I enjoyed it. Like if it was on telly, I'd watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't actually see why this is a classic, personally.
What do you think, John?
I really enjoyed it. Like, I do think it is a classic. I can see why it is a classic. It has that sort of cultural cachet, I suppose, that like when we saw this coming out, I was like, see what's in season 4. Oh, Mr. Plow's coming up. I was fully expecting it to be a good one. Yeah. And frankly, I don't think I was disappointed. It is genuinely regarded by a lot of people to be one of the best, and like, I don't disagree particularly.
I think that's bold.
Oh, I'm about to make our friend Gambling the David B. Grog of this episode.
I think so. Yeah.
I really like this episode too. I think it's a very, very strong, good episode.
It's okay. I enjoyed it. Like genuinely, like yeah, I'd say I enjoyed the episode, but I don't know, it just didn't wow me. I don't know, but I do tend to be the contrarian, so
fair enough.
Fair. Which is funny because then I'm always the one that's annoyed at David B. Grog. So
well, we haven't seen David B. Grelk in a while. We're on to Nate Myers.
I hope he's dead.
I've got to be honest. Like I'm carrying on with it as a bit, but I actually haven't seen Nate Myers mentioned on any of the Wikipedia articles recently. The name that actually is slightly getting to annoy me is a chap called Nathan Dittum, who at some point created a list of the best movie references in The Simpsons, and he always gets cited, and it's really annoying because the Godfather reference is apparently the 37th greatest film reference in The Simpsons, according to Nathan Dittum.
What does greatest mean in that? It's just a reference.
It's just a listicle that's been referenced in every Simpsons episode now. Yeah, it's fucking annoying.
I hate
fuck Nathan Dittum.
People like it is just people inserting themselves into the fandom as if they matter. Like if you matter, the fandom will make you will put you on a pedestal. You don't get to build a pedestal and put yourself on it. But it is The Simpsons, so people will do that.
What's everyone's out of Homer?
I'll go with mine first then so we can end on positives, because I give it a distracting phone call while they repossess your plow out of Homer. It killed 20 minutes, and honestly, I just wanted to write a really long out of Homer.
Fair enough.
John?
Mr. Plow out of Homer.
That's your name?
I was a little worried I was giving too many Homers, so it's Homer's alter ego.
I don't think you've given that many, though. I gave
one last week. This is the problem. Like I gave one last week.
You convinced me to up mine to a Homer the other week. I can convince you. I think if you genuinely think this is one of the classics, that sounds like a Homer to me.
Also, just to note, like I love that somehow 2 years into this, I still refer to the previous episode as last week, like we did this last week.
Spoiler alert: we did not do this last week.
No, we did not.
Michael,
I'm gonna give it pure 100% West out of Homer.
Okay.
So it was really creepy and uncomfortable.
Bit of a sex pest.
Yep.
Okay.
So society.
Plow-related businesses are probably not a good idea.
A bit seasonal, to be honest. Yeah.
Yep.
If two friends work together, there's nothing God himself can do to stop them.
Unless he physically intervenes.
Yeah.
Except he can't, yeah. No, to be fair, I got no real takeaways from this. It was just a good episode.
I mean, you could get overly analytical about this episode and say that it's a critique of small business ownerships and the ever-present risk of striking out on your own, coupled with the predatory businesses that will prey upon those dreamers and believers in order to profit off their initial hope for a better life and inevitably make it impossible to make those dreams a reality due to crippling costs and restrictions. But is that really what this podcast is about?
Nah.
Yeah, this podcast is wondering what 300 hectares actually equals in.
This podcast has no culture, is what we've learned.
The hectares joke is hectares is area, so just saying, oh, this car can go 300 units of area is like, it's great. Love crazy Vaclav.
Yeah, I do think there is like, you could get overly analytical about what this episode says about society, but I don't think any of it was really intentional. I think it's more one of those like analyzing the beliefs of the writer kind of thing, similar to like the last episode with what I did about the whole writers living out fantasies thing. That wasn't a deliberate thing the writers were doing, you know. They weren't trying to make a comment on that, but that's what I read into it. And I think, again, you could do that with this episode with the whole American independent business thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you could do it. You don't need to.
Cool. Other thoughts? Yeah, cool. Yeah, advertise some shit then. Matt, go.
I got fucking nothing. We're going to record an episode of All for Arnold soon. I also regularly appear on our good friend Alzarath's streams, currently every Tuesday and Sunday at around 1 p.m. GMT, whatever that is in America. You know, on Twitch, we're currently doing Baldur's Gate. It's really fun. Yeah, I just make myself a nuisance on other people's projects these days rather than do any projects of my own.
Best way to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael?
You can follow me on the X at BMashHorse. It's mostly just Simpson memes, but you never know, there might be a gem of culture on there at some point.
One of the main reasons why I want us to get popular is so that people then can message us and be like, why doesn't Matt ever give his social medias out anymore? And we're like, because Matt fucking hates you all. Matt wants to be left alone.
That's a selling point to get the audience involved.
It's not a podcast if there isn't at least one host that has utter contempt for everyone involved. Sorry, my throat's really harsh because I thought, oh, that's not a lot of rum. I'll just down that to finish the glass. That was a lot of rum. My whole mouth is on fire.
Brilliant.
Well, Matt dies, John. Where can they find you?
I am on the verge of attempting to give up Twitter, the everything app.
Yeah, I saw you followed me on Blue Sky. I might actually start actively posting on Blue Sky just for the sake
Everybody
of it.
is doing it. It's kind of wonderful and also hilarious. Like, I don't know what the current figure is, like, but the official Blue Sky account said that they'd gained 1.2 million new users in like 24 hours, which is all because Elon Musk was like, right, we're turning off the block function. You can't block people properly anymore because I want to be able to see my ex's tweets. And also, by the way, everything you post will be used to train AI. Like, this came out in the same day, and everybody, all the fucking, freaks who are still on Twitter and still using it, even me, was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm out.
That's it. No, you have crossed the line at this point that I don't fucking give a shit anymore. What else is out there? What's better? And everybody collectively seems to have just gone, okay, Blue Sky, I guess.
I like Blue Sky.
Yeah, it's so pleasant. If you are the sort of freak who still hangs around Twitter and is like, I fucking hate this, I hate everyone on this platform makes me angry constantly because it's designed to, try Blue Sky. It's so nice. The vibes are great by comparison to Twitter. Everyone's just like having a good time.
I think
it's
the
a
alcohol's
nice
hit John.
platform.
This podcast brought to you by Blue Sky.
Blue Sky,
good.
sponsor us,
Yeah.
yo.
Follow me on Blue Sky. I'm at Maroka. I don't even need the fucking _BM anymore. I can get rid of that bullshit.
If you want my recommendation, just remove all social media from your life. I deleted the apps off my phone.
It's probably better, yeah.
And I have Facebook open when I use my computer just because I have a couple people that message me on there. But otherwise, I just don't use social media anymore. And my life has been, well, I'm not going to say better, but like 0.01% better. And that's still something. Bye, guys.
Alright, bye everyone.
Bye, everybody.
You fucking bastard.